Defining Duke is brought to you by Athletic Greens. I started taking AG1 because, as I always mention to you all, Cog and I are a part of the health is wealth mindset. Well, what could be better than having one delicious scoop of AG1 that lets you get 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right without breaking the bank. So right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Duke. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Duke to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and welcome to episode 83 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today, I'm joined by the man who caught a bullet, Lord Cognito. That shirt, man. Shirt, that's a sign.
Listen, man, they got me. They got me. This is the side I'm repping right now. It's all about the rock all day, every day. It was cool to seeing people who I didn't think would be into it hitting me up. Yo, I tried it. I'm actually liking it. So, down within the rocket team right now.
I like it.
No doubt. I see you out there. What you rock? What's the Yasogami?
Yasogami High. Yes. This is a little Persona 4 action here. The high school that they went to. I got this at PAX years ago. It's now in my, I like throwing on a lot of my old geek clothes now, because when I started going to the gym, I know I haven't been there a couple weeks because of my back, but before that, but now suddenly I'm popping out of these shirts.
You get the fill out. Woo!
Yeah, I look really good in the geek wear now. They're like, that's not just a Persona fan. So we're rocking the Japanese gaming merch here, and we're excited to be here. We have a jam-packed week. With a lot more news to talk about compared to last week. And not only that, but a lot of great write-ins. So thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, if you're interested in supporting the show, we're available over at patreon.com/laststandmedia, where you can get early access to the show on Thursdays if you're feeling a little impatient. You also, the day before that, you can double up on Duke and get Defining Duke Ultimate, where we just recorded one of my favorite episodes of the year. We talked about As Dusk Falls, review discussion, so it's spoiler-free in the first half. Second half, or really more than half, is all spoilers, breaking down this game. Cog, do you agree? One of our best.
Yeah, that was so much fun, man. I loved it, all the angles. Shout out to Ben, came through.
Yes, sir.
So much fun. And it was just cool to see the outcomes and how we processed everything. And again, shout out to Interior Night for having us being able to have this discussion about this game.
Indeed. And a rare exclusive, if you will. So
Yes. What of those?
Yes. Starfield.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's available over on patreon.com/laststandmedia. So if you're interested in supporting us, we would appreciate that. And you have 78 other episodes you could comb through that are available there. So a lot of content. With that, we have a lot of write-ins, as I said, and this is a community effort, right? And we lift up all various members of our community, and we have some good news, but we also seemingly have some bad news here from CJ, who writes in, "Hey, Cog and Matty, I appreciate you both. I could really use some thoughts and prayers. I've been unemployed for over a year due to medical issues and had to move back home. I actually had surgery 3 months ago on my stomach. I am still recovering but going through some difficult times. I had a few complications from surgery that I was not aware could be possible. Anyway, thanks for at least getting my mind off things for a few hours." So we just want to send some love for CJ, put on a good show for CJ, lift him up, because in the write-in after this, as we'll talk about in just a moment, we had someone write in for some well wishes, and they have some great news. So CJ, we're going to push the good vibes towards you, get you some healing. Cog, anything you want to throw out there?
Yeah, shout out to CJ. I've been there, brother. I've had surgery, you said stomach, I believe.
Yes.
And I actually had a gallbladder removed. So that was a transition for me on that. And I know about the unemployment thing, bro. I've been there. It's tough, but you take care of what you got to take care of, family. And like I said, if we provide any comfort, much appreciated.
Yeah, we're happy to do so, CJ. So rest easy. You'll be on the up and up soon. Just like Randy Scott Hyson Jr., who writes, "Good day, Dukes. A few months ago, I wrote in about my gratitude for helping me and my mom escape through various podcasts while going through her battle with cancer and treatment. I thought of nowhere better to share this news. My mom is officially in complete remission after years of treatment and fighting. Thank you, Matty, for reaching out personally. Thank you both for taking time those months ago to read my comment and offer up support. And thank you to the entire LSM/DD community for reaching out with support. It really means a lot to me personally. I was in a very bad headspace mentally during these past few months. And one of the very few things that brought me comfort enough to keep me focused and able to support my mom was Xbox, this podcast specifically, and this community. I'm forever grateful to all of you. Also, Matty, your YouTube content was a blessing and gave me an escape during some rough moments. So thank you again. Hope you all have an I love you and this community kind of day." So CJ, no, this will be you soon. You'll be coming in with the good news, letting us know about your victory story. But shout out to Randy, man. This was awesome to see. As he mentioned, I had the opportunity to talk to him a bit. I talked to Dustin to try to get some merch his way. We're still working on that. But
nice.
Don't worry, Randy, I did not forget.
Nice. Salute to Randy. Salute to Mama Randy and all that too. And that's huge. That's huge. Because I know the stress involved with that. It's funny, these two specific questions I literally had exactly in my life. Mama Cog went through it too. Mama Cog went through it. Yeah. So luckily she was able to get through her situation, gave us a scare, but she's doing good. So I know the feeling, you know what I mean? So yeah, take care of that. Any comfort, any distractions, we are glad to provide that. Fun times gaming, so that you don't have to stress as much through these rough times.
Absolutely. So thank you, Randy. Thank you, CJ. Thank you, everyone, for writing in and, making this a real community here. Those types of stories being shared, whether they be Crocs, poops, or victory stories, we're happy to have them here because it feels like we're all a little closer and doing something together. So we appreciate that. With that, I got to have my feet held to the fire here, Cog. Now it's time for the comedy because I'm about to get checked.
Here we go.
Tier lists are always dangerous, right? So I had a feeling someone would have something to say. I was surprised with how well the video is doing. This is our first challenge. Ernie Shutt writes in, "How's it going, Megalodon Matty and Crepuscular Cog? I watched Matty's Game Pass tier list video and I saw Like a Dragon only got A tier. Matty, have you even finished this masterpiece of a JRPG? And if you did, how could you dare to even think of putting it at anything less than S tier? Cog may have to smite you. With that being said, I hope Cog has the chicken that is under my employ is actually pretty great kind of day. And Matty, for your most heinous slights, I hope you have an I just walked barefoot in my yard and stepped in fresh dog Duke kind of month." Ernie, it's funny, right? I what I did was I collected all of the Yakuza games because I've played most of them from start to finish. I put them all in A tier, right? But I did not. I did a little bit of Cog Deathloop Game of the Year action here. I was like, I think I'm gonna like this. I'm not gonna slander this and be like, oh, I'm not gonna rank it. I'm gonna rank all the other ones. So I was like, I'll throw it in there. I know this is apparently a good game, but obviously I haven't put my hands on it. But everyone around me has not just liked it, but loved it. I'm a turn-based freak. I was feeling it. Ernie, I'll put the fraud alert on myself.
Yeah, we've been there.
And say, all right, you got me there. Yeah, maybe it could be higher. It could be higher. That's the thing with tier lists. Like, I recorded this before I played As Dust Falls, and that would have been S tier for me. Like, I would have been like, yeah, play this. So you always get bitten in the butt, but this one could have been avoidable. I'll hold the L on this. So thank you, Ernie, for checking me.
Salute to Ernie.
Cog, you gonna smite me like he suggested?
Nah, because I've been there. I'd be fraudulent on my part to smite you in that way. When I did that for Deathloop, and the community came for me, they was like, "Cog, how you go?" So look, it's fair play. But we both, I got Dangan, you got Yakuza, and we got the challenge off. We got to put like a deadline or something on it so that we could really knock this out. They on me with this Dangan. They are on me.
I spared you this week. There were a lot of write-ins telling you like it's time. There was a lot of write-ins. The dangin' goons. I mean, yeah, it's funny, right? Because I was just talking to my friend about how I was playing Xenoblade 3, and I'll talk about it later, but obviously this is a really long game. And after that, I want to play Trails to Azure, which is another long game. I'm like, but I got to play Like a Dragon for Cog, which I know is another long game. I was like, I'm swarmed with amazing JRPGs, and Square's dropping a ton of them at the end of this year too. So I don't I don't know, man. I got to figure my way around this.
Just thought about so I may be able to get yours out the way. Is Danganronpa on Steam Deck?
Yeah. It's on Vita. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is a great bed game, Cog. That's where all Danganronpa was played for me. Yeah.
I might do that. I got a flight coming up. I might just knock that bad boy out on the flight. Let me download that.
On the reverse, Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Yes, it's on Game Pass. And it's cloud streaming and base.
Okay, we might have
there we go. Here. There we go.
Here. Okay. We found a middle ground here.
There we go. Yes.
Tyler Bello also writes in here to just push me over the edge, it seems. Hey, Matty, I know you're going through it a bit with KOTOR being indefinitely delayed and now the bad news at BioWare, but I figured I should make sure that I nip the hope you have left in the bud. I'm pretty sure I've heard it several times that Star Wars The Old Republic can never be ported to console because it actually runs on an unreleased version of Unreal Engine 3 that can't be ported or basically changed in any way. That's why nothing has been done with it. Basically, the only hope we have is a sequel that comes to console. Sorry, my man, and for real, try to have a good day for a change. I can't anymore, bro. BioWare in shambles, KOTOR remake gone. I was calling for like a reinvigoration in my recent BioWare video of SWTOR because the director left. I was like, y'all aren't putting this on console when like every booming MMO, ESO, Final Fantasy 14, they're on consoles. I stand corrected on this. This is an important point here, and hurts my heart, man, because that game is good. It's a narrative-focused MMO, and it's so fun, but it just needs more players. They're not putting enough content in.
That sucks. I did not know this about this the whole version bit, and the hits keep coming for you on your.
I don't know what I did. I actually mean that too. I don't know what happened. I really don't. I have a good life. I don't know what happened though with games. Like it just something. I gotta like check myself. I gotta make sure like everything's squeaky clean. I'm running my life right. I gotta really look in the mirror and make sure like I didn't do something wrong because this is getting too much now. It's getting to be a little too much.
Yeah, it's been a rough one for you. I'm like, damn, I feel you, especially when it's your favorite games. You're like, what you mean? There's no hope. I'm like,
you know, I think the Starfield delay hit us all, but then it's been personal attacks since, and I'm just hoping that Battle Network Collection doesn't get delayed. At least like that, they just put a window on it, so when it's announced, I hope they don't delay it again or something, because that would hurt too. So I'm trying to think of like what else could hurt me right now. Like what's something
Somerville this year?
Yeah, but I'm not crazy about that. I think High on Life, if that got delayed out of
yes, that would mess with you. That's you, like all the way. Yes,
yeah, that got delayed. Oh no, I just put it out there. This is bad. Okay, let's
not even do that. Let's not even do it. Let's keep it moving.
Don Otaku is our next write-in. What's up, Lucky Pervert, Matty, and Isekai Cog? Matty, I gotta come for you. Ever since I started watching your content, I felt like 97% of the time we're on the same wavelength outside of a few food-related topics and Ace Attorney versus Danganronpa. The last show, you let something slip and I couldn't believe my ears. While talking about Xenoblade Chronicles, you talked about how bad the voice acting was in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and how the accent was bad, implying that you were playing the English dub. I can't believe it. My JRPG and anime-loving brethren, Matty, is a filthy dubber. How could you consume so much Japanese content and not play/watch it in the native language? English dubs are 80% terrible, especially in video games. There are rare exceptions like Dragon Ball, Cowboy Bebop, Final Fantasy games, etc. But I just assumed you were cultured enough to sub at any chance possible. Tell me I'm wrong, Matty. Tell me I'm wrong. Have a Omeya wa Moshinderu kind of day. Yeah, Don Otaku, with reasonable arguments here. But the way I look at it is sometimes I will take the inferior voice acting from English, very rarely. But Japanese voice acting across anime and JRPGs has a level of intensity and screeching and screaming that can up the ante. But if I'm just not in the mood for it, it really can grind my gears when they're like, like it's just endless. I mean, it's awesome. But I really think with Xenoblade, I was looking for like a chill open world game. There's a lot of chatter in between literally everything from combat to exploration to questing. Where I just want to be able to hear it passively. So there's like a design choice behind it too. So I'm not as much of a dub snub, if you will, as many others out there are. I think Japanese is vastly superior in something like Tales of Arise. I don't know how anyone could play that in English because to me, it's also the cast. Like the cast in Xenoblade Chronicles 3 it's different. It's not the same, Erica Lindbeck and Troy Baker and so on and so forth, that Nolan North, the same voices we've heard in dozens of games for years and years and years. It's like a new set of voices. I don't mind if it's English because it's refreshing to hear. So that's where I'm at, Don Otaku. Stand down.
Shout out to the dog. That's the whole thing. The cars are mad at you. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the. I need the Japanese voices, man. I need them.
I respect the authenticity.
You know what I'm saying? Especially if I love the game, I really like it in that format.
Did you play Ghost of Tsushima in Japanese? I feel like you told me.
Yes.
Okay.
Hell yes.
I played that in English. That was really
Kurosama. I did multiple. Yeah, man, I love.
You went in.
That. I went in, bro. The Ghost. That's my heart right there.
Yes, sir. AJB writes in with a little bit of a reminder here. Hey, Duke's Health is Wealth advocate here, former bodybuilder, current marathon runner, working on qualifying for Boston Marathon. 2 things I want to point out based off some convos last show. Now, we talked about this, Cog, with the Crocs and the lifting without your shoes on. What's the idea behind it? He says, lifting without shoes would typically be for deadlifting and squatting. Most shoes have a slight raise in their heel and a cushioning to help absorb shock when running. Removing all of that allows for better stability and power whenever doing those lifts. Definitely improves form for Olympic lifts and helps alleviate knee and hip issues in the long run. Same reason a lot of people lift in Chuck Taylors. The sole is completely flat with no cushion. You should try it. Keeps you from getting up on your toes and helps drive through your heels. Then his second little reminder. Everyone that wants to keep their joints healthy, and I know, Cog, you're big on joint health, needs to buy a book called, I'm seeing him copy and paste right now, called Becoming a Supple Leopard. It's a crazy name, but it's basically an encyclopedia on how to manage joint integrity and keep yourselves from getting injuries. If you have pain in an area, it'll isolate down to a specific stretch/exercise to do to reduce problems. It's a life-changing book. I put in 50 to 60 miles a week, and I'm still lifting at 34, and my joints feel better than they did at 24. I love it. Keep it up, guys. Love the mantra. Matty, if you need help with some simple things to do to help squash back pain as soon as you feel it, let me know. All right. Well, thank you for that, AJB. So, Cog, you're checking out the book, I imagine. What do you think of Becoming a Supple Leopard?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm checking out some interesting stretches and kind of like just mindsets for different things. Very detailed, the imagery and everything. Not too bad. I got to check it out. Wasn't aware of this at all.
Yeah, I got to... This is a hell of a name for a book here. But
yeah, the book name is very interesting.
I've been on a self-help book grind lately. I picked up a book called Doing Nothing, which I'm very interested in because I'm a workaholic. So I'm just like, let me see what like the mindset behind someone who's saying like don't work as much is. I don't know if I'll ever follow it, but at least like see what it is.
Just to see what the mindset is.
And the other one I picked up, I don't know if it would technically be a workaholic book, but I think it was called The 33 Strategies of War. And yeah, I've just been like trying to diversify my reading because I'm usually only reading Star Wars books. So I'm going to check out this one as well. Thank you, AJB, for throwing that our way.
Absolutely.
All right, Cog. Time to grind some gears. Emmett writes in, hey, gentlemen, I want to confess something to you both with the gaming battalion as my witnesses. I eat butter, straight butter, no bread, raw, unsullied butter. Am I a monster or are you all just cowards? Cog, I need you to step in here. Butter, just taking the stick and taking a bite out of it. Thoughts?
What are we doing? What's going on, Emmett? What is that? Is just pure savagery at its finest. Like, what? There's no.
That's caveman behavior.
What's going on? Like, I've never heard of this. Like, wow, raw, unsullied butter, like just off the rip, just plain. Like, how did the determination come one day when you were just like, you know what? Throw that butter by itself. Like, who sat there and looked at the butter like, man, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's an additive kind of a thing. Like, I don't get, and then it's like there's really no taste to it.
Yeah, I need to check Emmett's age and whatnot, make sure he's not a time traveler or something, just because like that's prehistoric behavior right there, straight up. Like that's, we got our hands on something, we can just eat it. Let's just consume it as is. Like, butter is to be spread. It's not to be eaten raw. It's just not. That's something I know. I don't expect any pushback on that at all. Like I know sometimes we get there, but like I'll be shocked if y'all come in and what was it? We were getting the onion sandwich ones. I'm like, all right, some of you are a little weird, but like the butter, the raw stick. No, there's
Raw
no
butter.
way.
Yeah, like wow, like that's crazy. All right, yo, salute to you, man. If that's
I'm not
good,
saluting. You are a monster. You asked if you're a monster or we're cowards. You're just a monster.
He did say that. He did want to smoke. He did.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is monstrous. This is monstrous, man.
Thank you for putting yourself out here, Emmett. We do appreciate your bravery. With that, let's talk about video games. We got a lot of little bits of news here. Let's start off with Scorn. A long-delayed Xbox exclusive. Developer Ebb Software has revealed that the game's runtime will be about 6 to 8 hours. With all of its delays in time and development and what we've seen of the game, Cog, where we're looking like, where's the gameplay at? How are you feeling about the shorter runtime compared to what we've seen in the game? Because now I feel like less encouraged that like there are going to be things hidden from us when we get our hands on the full product.
Yeah, definitely. Because I never really felt I got a sense outside of the style of the game. I never felt I got a sense of what really is going on, more mechanic stuff. And now that I'm seeing this kind of gets me in more of a AA space and a shorter space. Not saying that the game quality is going to be bad, but it put things in perspective now. Why things are a little bit more secretive because it's a shorter, kind of more focused type title. But I'm still interested. I want to see what it's about.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about this game in the first place. I liked the atmosphere of it. It was a little creepy looking, which was interesting, as you put it many shows ago. Very phallic.
Very phallic. Very
yes.
phallic.
So, we'll see what the internet thinks of that. I'm sure that'll be all over Twitter. But it's 6 to 8 hour runtime for Scorn is what the developers are saying. So it'll at least be an interesting Game Pass weekend game. Next here, I had to throw this in just because I am really concerned about this game. AEW Fight Forever. Many of you know I'm a big AEW fan, watch it every single week. And they've been making a video game for a couple of years now with Ukes, the former developers of the WWE franchise. It's now been confirmed that THQ Nordic is publishing it, which is kind of a cool throwback because THQ published the original SmackDown versus Raw games. So there's a little bit of a connection there. It feels like it's a nice throwback. And there was a trailer that leaked via Xbox that confirms we're going to learn more at the THQ Nordic showcase. But in that, it confirmed there are multiple match types. There's a deep career mode, and it showed some gameplay. All I'll say is that this game has to play well because, like, animation-wise, model-wise, this game does not look good. And I know AEW is like on the up and up; it's growing, but this does not look like visually, presentation-wise, good at all. And I know like WWE just overhauled everything, and they got like a great creation community mode where I could take AEW fighters into the ring with custom intros, custom rings, all that stuff. So you could get AEW stuff on WWE right now, where they got to have something special here. Like they showed in the trailer, there was like a baseball mini game mode. Yeah. There was like a quick time event dancing mode. They called it like a deep career mode. And I trust Ukes because they did make good wrestling games for a while, but I don't know, Cog. I really want to believe in this game, but like even the cover art, I saw the cover art and I got to get into my wrestling bag for a moment here because AEW's got a lot of current stars that are great, like CM Punk and John Moxley and so on and so forth. But there are so many young and upcoming stars that are not on the cover art for this that blows my mind. Like MJF, like easily the fastest rising young star, like greatest heel in the business, not on the box. Darby Allin, like they call him the pillar, not on the box. Sting, the OG Sting, the icon, not on the box. I could, like, if you look at this box art, it might be money, right? Yeah, you're right. It might be money, but this box art, it has Chris Jericho on it, John Moxley, CM Punk. It's got a couple of AEW originals like Jade Cargill and Britt Baker. I love Jade. I'm just saying, like, I feel like what they have there is great. They just have so much other talent. So I don't know. For me personally, I'm feeling a little off about it, but they said they're going for a more arcadey, old school, No Mercy style wrestling game. So that's going to be about how it feels, right? So I'm concerned with how it looks, but it could play great. And if it does play and feel great as an arcade wrestler, we might have something here. But Cog, I know you were interested in WrestleQuest. I don't know how much of the WWE games you've played, but you seemed interested by No Mercy. So how do you feel about what we saw for AEW Fight Forever?
It gave me that old school feel, right? So for me, it's funny to hear you because I was like, okay, I see where you're coming from. If you're looking at production value and obviously what's going on with the WWE offerings, yes, of course, it's night and day. I'm not going to sit there and say it's not. But for me, when I was looking at the feel, and then I wanted to see like the grapple system, and I remember Ukes from back in the day, but now you throw in THQ, you throw in some old school. I might be interested. And then for me, this will get me faster into your love than anything else. Because if the game plays that way and it's fun, then I'm like, all right, so I'm picking this guy. Who's that? Like, then I start to get invested. Okay. So I'm actually curious. But I understand your concern because there is a part where you're like, I hope they taking it serious and it's not the cash grab, but it's really going in to make a quality wrestling game. So I feel you on that. But yeah, I'm actually interested though. I
am too. I mean, they don't have the benefit that WWE had of like, gradually building something over time here. AEW is a startup company and they've grown tremendously over the past couple of years. But, we've learned with other companies like Amazon, Google, so on, that you just can't throw cash at a game when you have like an owner, in the case of AEW, like Tony Khan, who has just shit tons of money. He like owns a football club. He was the owner of the Jaguars for some time. So, it's one of those things where you just can't throw money at it and solve the problems, but they have the right teams in place. And Kenny Omega, who's like helping creatively direct the game, is a huge video game fan. And he like had a whole vision for it. So I want to believe, but I'm just kind of nervous. It's apparently coming out this year. So we'll see, but they can take their time if they got to.
Yeah, he said, take your time.
if you got to.
If you got to. Okay, fair enough.
Just real quick, I'm checking the showcase date for it's apparently August 12th is when the showcase is for THQ Nordic. So if you're interested in seeing AEW Fight Forever, that's where you'll see more of it.
No doubt.
A delay for an exclusive on Xbox. Warhammer 40k Darktide was originally supposed to come out this September. It's being pushed back to November 30th on PC, and it will have a new separate date to be announced for Xbox consoles. So a very interesting delay here for a game I thought looked really good. Cog, anything sticking out to you about this one? You feeling nervous? This is another delay for this game. It's the second one.
In this case, no, because shout out to the OG Duke, Ryan McCaffrey. I seen his preview of it, and he actually got me more excited about the game than I initially was. And I'm like, it's going to be, Hordy, Left 4 Dead-y, kind of clone, multiplayer. But the things you can do in the game seem transformed. And the distinct characters, it was like this big brutish character. He's taking it, he can like tackle and push people through it. I was like, I might take him. And then it's just like little weird things you could do and the way you can manipulate. And then the skill trees. And I was like, okay, look at that.
You probably like Vermintide if you like that.
Yeah, I played the old one. I played for back in the day. So it's like, but this one seemed like it was a little more visceral with certain things and how you was tearing people up. And I'm like, okay, you got my attention now. So yeah, I'm not too concerned because from what I seen, looked fairly polished. So if they need a little bit more time, hey, take your time, bring that bad boy out. And there's a Game Pass jump off?
Yeah, this is a Game Pass day one. It's also console exclusive. It's coming to Xbox consoles exclusively. So yeah, this is a good one. Yeah, take your time, right? Mm-hmm. We've waited long enough. What's another month or
two? What's hardly anything in 2022?
Yeah. Who cares?
Par for the course. Exactly.
But you know what is coming out in 2022? Grounded 1.0. Obsidian has confirmed that it is dropping September 27th. And I'm actually kind of keen to check this one out. The game has grown a lot. I haven't played it since its early access period. And I'm excited because actually of all things that really grabbed me with this game, I thought the universe and the story seemed really cool. So when I got to the inside of the tree and you learn there's like a lab in there, I was like, what's next? And it ends. And I went, I'm not going to touch this until it's all done. So it seems like there's a complete story there. And I am very excited to learn more about this world. So I'm planning to dive in. We will see if that is fully accomplished. But Cog, are you going to be hopping into Grounded?
I'm actually is. I'm put the fraud alert on me. This is a learning experience of slandering a genre you don't really care for. And I didn't give it a shot at first. And I was like, Obsidian, what are you doing? What's going on? Very angry. I played the demo and I was like, this is actually not that bad. And it was like survival light. And I'm like, this is how you get me. Because most of those survival games are very hardcore. And like, they'd be like, build a fire and do all this. But it'd be like the way Grounded did it was like survival for dummies. Like, okay, these ingredients you need. It was all organized. The UI was nice and clean. It was vibrant colored. Engine ran well. And I was exploring around. I was going around the little backyard. I could see how they could get a story from it. And I'm curious to see how they do it And apparently, remember, they got the movie license or whatever too. So yeah, Honey, I Shrunk the Kid with 4 people. So let's go.
Hell yeah. Defining Duke is brought to you by Athletic Greens. I started taking AG1 because, as I always mention to you all, Cog and I are a part of the health is wealth mindset. Now, one thing we don't talk a lot about on the show when we mention health is wealth is sometimes you need the wealth, the actual wealth, to afford being healthy just because of today's day and age. Well, what could be better than having one delicious scoop of AG1 that lets you get 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right without breaking the bank? You see, the founder of Athletic Greens created this company when they experienced a ton of gut health issues and ended up with a complicated supplement routine which cost him over $100 a day. The difference is here with Athletic Greens, it'll cost you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health and it's cheaper than, say, getting a cup of coffee. So right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Duke. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Duke to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. We talked a bit about Xbox Cloud Gaming for Steam Deck with Danganronpa and Yakuza Like a Dragon. Well, that makes sense because gaming hours, according to Xbox, are up 1,800% through cloud gaming compared to this time last year. That is a pretty staggering increase that I think you can attribute to the likes of, say, the service improving, but also Fortnite's addition to the service is a huge part of it. So I was really pleased to see this because I started using it for the first time in a while through my Steam Deck, and I was really impressed with how far things have come.
Yeah, this is mind-boggling. I don't want to understate this. Shout out to Jez Courtney, he had a good article on this. I think that to have this amount of growth goes to show you, and especially with Fortnite, it goes to show you how people are consuming stuff, right? And I didn't think there would be that much of demand at all. If they'd have said like 20, 30% increase, I'm like, wow, that'd have still been impressive. Like, this is 1,800. Like, that is insane. That they may be onto something. And again, not the way I would consume my games, right? Yeah. But if you're looking at where the trends are going and they got the data, it looks like their bet to the future is the right bet. This thing's taking off, man. And like you said, the tech has improved tremendously. This is a huge, huge stat.
Absolutely. And when you think about the Xbox One owners who want to play Starfield or Redfall, I mean, that's numbers only going to go up, I feel, as more games come out. We're talking about in a time where Xbox is experiencing a exclusives drought. Games are still coming out, but people are playing on the platform and they're finding ease of access. And this was speaking on a global front. So this could attribute to like their growth in Japan or something along those lines, which we've documented here. So there's a lot to take away from this. And I think, as Cog said, this does not need to be understated. This is really important for the future.
Satya actually, not to cut you, Satya actually, it was one of his main pillars after they started talking to finances about this. And I was just like, wow, that's tremendous.
Yeah, and they are planning to invest more in server farms, so this will only increase in stability. And I recommend to our audience, give it a try, because again, I tried this on my crummy wireless home internet, which, it's fine, gets the job done, but it's not anything special. And I was playing Prey on my Steam Deck with ease. So there is something there that works really well. It's extremely impressive. Next up, EA. They said in a recent earnings call that single-player games are, quote, really, really important to our portfolio, end quote. So again, underlying the point I think I made last week, which was, is there a more impactful game to a single company than Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order? At least as of recently, it's hard to think of one. And EA really, really changing their tune. So I'm encouraged by this because we know Black Panther game is in development. Jeff Grubb indicated there may be a second Marvel game in development over at EA very recently. He didn't specify what, but it looks like EA is going in on single player. And I think this could be great. EA, the reason we didn't like them is because multiplayer really corrupted them. It reminds me a bit of Activision. Multiplayer corrupted them too. When I made my golden era of Activision video on Retro Rebound, one thing I highlighted as I showed the Activision label on so many games, dozens of games that were all high quality, I was like, they used to be a really good publisher. Same thing with EA. They used to be a great publisher. They just got really greedy and they started to contaminate creative decisions. So, Cog, are you feeling more encouraged by EA saying single player games are more important to them than really ever before?
Yeah, big time, big time. Because we all felt that they've lost their way underneath the Madden and the FIFA annualization, and we know about the money teams and all that, super team stuff that you can make. They make all that revenue from, but it's encouraging. And the thing that they actually came out with a statement today talking about kind of like, yo, we like our independence. Like, we not trying to be acquired. So Andrew Wilson has been making some very strong. They seem bullish right now. And hey, if it's like you said, the Jedi Fallen Order effect, the Vince Zampella effect, Respawn effect, whatever it is, they are emboldened, and that's good to see because I did not like the last couple of years prior. And I was not like. Their name held weight, and it just didn't hold that much. Now I'm like, okay, they're coming back. So yeah, this is a good sign.
Hopefully, I again, I don't want to see like Dragon Age have the forced multiplayer modes. I don't want to see Battlefield 2042 with its shenanigans. I want to see what they're like as a single player publisher because they got the money. As you mentioned, they're printing cash for the Ultimate Team and whatnot. So, switching those funds to somewhere else and producing high quality single player games that are profitable, it's possible. And they're learning that now. So I'm open to seeing the change. Of course, I'm not going to hold my breath too much here, but I would like to see them really turn the corner here.
No doubt.
So Stalker 2, as we know, has been delayed to 2023. That's okay. They're being heavily impacted by the war in Ukraine, GSC Game World, the developers. However, there appears to be a console port of Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl, which has now leaked online with gameplay you can see for yourself. It released originally in 2007, and it is the first in a trilogy of games, which are Stalker Clear Sky and Stalker Call of Pripyat. So I thought this was actually awesome to see. If there's one game that I've been recommended a shit ton, it has been Stalker, because every Fallout fan tells me to play it. I know it's not post-apocalyptic, but a lot of people say, like, if you like Fallout, this game's kind of got like a survival horror, a creepy aspect to it. It's very Fallout-esque in its atmosphere. So I hope this is true and it comes out soon because I would love to get my hands on this one. Did you check this out or are you just waiting for Stalker 2?
I'm waiting for Stalker 2, but yeah, like I heard the same things and people were like, yo, you would like this. So this was going to be my first, Stalker 2 is going to be my first entry to it. So yeah, I'm excited for it. And for you, especially because I'm like, he needs some kind of a Fallout fix. He needs something right now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Shout out to the team over there.
Absolutely. So that may be coming soon. Again, gameplay available online. And Cog, you sent me this one last thing that we're going to talk about before we get into what we're playing. Forza Motorsport, they said on their personal Twitter account, you've asked for deeper, more authentic multiplayer racing, and we set out to make that a reality. The new Forza Motorsport has a focus on growing skills and building communities by incorporating a race weekend-like structure with open practice, qualifying, and featured race. This looks familiar to me compared to Gran Turismo 7. I know they did a similar thing here. And I always love going into the replies of Forza Motorsport stuff because I check their Twitter account and I see people like going, I speak for everyone when I say, thank God, this is great. I was just like, man, I don't know what y'all are saying, but I'm glad you're happy. So I wanted to put this out there. Cog, you sent it my way, though, so you were thinking of the Forza fans more than me. What do you make of this news?
Yeah, literally what you said. That was my assessment because obviously I'm not a motorsports guy, right?
Assessment.
But my assessment is that like, yo, this is really cool because say what you want. The people who love Gran Turismo, they love that aspect of it, from a simulation standpoint, and they love not only the community aspect, what I want to see from them is like almost like licenses. That's a huge deal in Gran Turismo. So to see Forza kind of pivot and say, look, we're thinking about these things. We're going to make a commitment to it. Not saying that this is going to make me gravitate and leave Horizon, but for the hardcore simulation guy, he needs this. So this is where competition is good. This is where Gran Turismo can push a little bit in that space and Forza Motorsport can say, okay, we're going to add some things too as well. So yeah, this is cool to see. And that game, listen, at the end of the day, that game looks absolutely stunning. Indeed. Like, let's be clear. Like, I know I slander them, because of the hardcore not caring, but the game for the people who love that, salute. It literally looks good. So I'm glad the community was hyped. Like, yo, it's about time. Let's go. And I'm like, okay, that's what I want to say.
I got to pull up the Twitter account because there were some replies in there that Now, I'm not making fun of people, by the way. I just want to make that clear. But there were just replies that did not make sense to me. Like, hold on, we got one here where it says,
what the street say?
Have some kind of driver/safety rating and have minimum ratings for various lobbies for people who just want to drive badly, stay out of lobbies with people who actually have good racecraft. Again, not making fun of someone, but I don't understand what that effectively is. Have a penalty system. Please be better than the one in GT7. I'm tired of being punted and given a penalty for ignoring track limits.
Oh, okay.
So you disconnected with you. Okay, let's
hear it. This is so the vibe I'm getting is a sensitivity to the rating system and how good a driver you are. And either the AI is being a little too aggressive with how you drive and penalizing, or they want people that actually respect racing lines and do things the right way from a racing purist standpoint to be rewarded and being with like-minded lobbies. See, one thing about the hardcore racer, they want that pure experience, right? So they don't want a Horizon Forza guy that, being messy and not or that guy needs to get penalized. So that's the vibe. I could be wrong. And LSM community who is down with motorsports, please educate us on this stuff as well. But that's the sense I get. Because I remember when I used to play simulation, there was a moment in my gaming where I used to be that simulation guy, and you got to do the racing line, and you got to, your pits and everything. And it's a purity thing, and drafting and good racing etiquette, professional, because they want it to feel like a real race. It's a thing to it. It's a culture to it.
Absolutely. So with that, Forza fans, enjoy your race weekend like structure. Let us know what you think of our analysis. Cog, let's get into what games we're playing here. Just nice hardcore video games here for real gamers. I want to know what you've been playing, because there's one game here that you and I have bonded over in the past, and I'd like to learn a little more of why you've got back into it.
Yeah, so shout out to Phantom Doctrine, because I went back to it. I'm a huge fan of those guys, and the development studio sadly, there was some complications, and then they don't kind of have the IP anymore, and they went off to do their own thing. So that was one of my first interviews, like going to E3. I was like, it's a big deal for me. Like it was a little indie game, but I was so happy to have like a E3 interview. They were like the first. It was Good Shepherd Entertainment at the time. Yes. So went over there, and I remember seeing Phantom Doctrine, this Cold War spy game, turn-based. You could infiltrate, do all these little tactics, brainwashing, take people back to your base, covert agent, spy versus spy. It was so awesome. Intricate and awesome, and I was just like, man, I like this. So it was just, obviously you could tell the budget, the engine wasn't the greatest, but it was ambitious for what the game was doing. And I remember just following it, and shame that game should have came to Game Pass, but who knows. But what ended up happening is, there was like some creative differences. The people who made the game were like, we doing our own studio. So now they're coming up with a new one, and it's Homicidal All-Stars. So basically, this new turn-based game that they're coming up with, it's like, I don't know if you ever played this game called Smash TV back in the day.
No.
All right, it's probably before your time. So Smash TV was like this 4-player, multiplayer, where you're playing this death game show, right? And like you gotta survive, and it's just murder, and it's just like American Gladiator is just in death. It's just some craziness. So they're taking a little bit of that concept but putting a turn-based aspect in it, and it's like survival. So they just announced that. I've been speaking to the devs. They're super pumped. And I'm pulling for them, man, because these were the creators of Phantom Doctrine, and now they're getting to do things their way. They're gonna own the IP. You know what I mean? Moving forward. So that's why I've been playing Phantom Doctrine, to kind of get myself back in that mode.
This game looks cool. This game looks really cool.
I tweeted you when they made the announcement. He was so nervous because they were like, today's the day. Because I spoke to them like 2 years ago. And I'm like, I heard the news about Phantom Doctrine. What's happening? He said, when the time's ready, Cog, I'll let you know. I said, please. And then I had tweeted you like, yo, this is the game for Phantom Doctrine devs. Yo.
Okay. I didn't see it. Damn.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Nah, you missed the popular. I already know.
No. I just don't want to Twitter that much anymore. Come on now.
I know. I'm just joking with you. But yeah. So I've been doing that. And then obviously...
Yeah, the shirt speaks for itself.
Baby. I'm seeing more people playing my baby. I'm so happy. They've got I told you, got the campaign mode coming, new characters coming. They actually have like some type of mobile integration that I was just able to mess around with, which is actually pretty cool. Shout out to Denise. Um, but look, no, listen. You know when I knew the game now is even addicting because there's like a fighting game. You know, you have to master your character. I will say one thing, last thing about Naraka Blade Point that people who are new to the game, I highly recommend. If you start just playing regular, you are at a complete disadvantage, and no one would ever tell you. There is literally skill trees in this game that I found out later.
Oh.
And they're called glyphs. And glyphs gives you stat bonuses, recovering your rage, your super faster, getting your energy faster so you can dodge, getting longer distance on your grappling hook to repel during a match quicker. So many things that if you level the character up, you will literally be at an advantage over your opponents. So I wouldn't recommend going to the hardcore modes until you do that. So you got that, but yeah, they got 2 new modes going on. They got a whole bunch of little public event stuff going on, and yeah, man, it's rocking and rolling. There's still more content coming. There's actually they just got rated by Famitsu, the Xbox version, and it was like 8 across the board. Famitsu was like the super standard over there, so they're doing well. They're really doing well. Good to see more people playing and rocking out. But yeah, man, that's been it for me. Kind of simple comfort food kind of week. But what about you? What you been playing?
I finished As Dusk Falls. We talked about that a lot in our spoiler cast and review discussion, but I just want to say here on the show that I know gets more numbers, this is definitely one of the best games I've played this year. It is really, really good. I love the amount of choices that you can make. Of course, as someone who loves choice and consequence, this game was up my alley. But, you know, Interior Nights really got a good game here. And you could see the former Quantic Dream inspiration for sure, because it's composed of a lot of developers from there. And you see all the branching story paths after each chapter, and it's really staggering. It's really fun to go back into old chapters and replay certain segments, which is what I've been doing. I've just been really impressed by it. Not only that, but especially the multiplayer mechanic. This is something that I think I can't envision another adventure, choice and consequence, narrative-driven game like this without it. I think it's such an important dynamic because you can play it on your own and really enjoy it, but truly co-op adds another layer to it. It reminds me of how I felt when I finished Life is Strange. Life is Strange was one of my favorite games in this genre because it took the Telltale formula of like walking around, interacting with the environment, making choices that changed the story. But what it added this time was the ability to rewind time and undo your choices.
Yes.
And certain quest objectives that you would have to interact with an object, rewind time, and something would happen there. And kind of getting creative with it. So it's almost making puzzles too. To me, that extra gimmick added such a significant layer to the game that it was one of my games of the year in 2015 when it came out.
Love that game.
First time since then, I'm feeling that same thing where I'm like, you know what? There's still life in this genre. There's still new ideas. This is another one. I really liked it. So I just wanted to, again, like we recommended in our spoiler cast and during our non-spoiler version, mind you, that this is a game you should try out. You should absolutely play it. Cog was on the money with this, saying from day one, this was a good one. It's not too long of a playthrough. We're talking 8 hours tops. Depending if you want to put more time into it, you can. I'm sure it takes about double that to get all the achievements if you're interested. But this is a really emotional, interesting, gripping ride with some truly excellent characters and wonderful acting. So please check it out. I know it's kind of a easy game to slander. I get it, that art style. It's not the big poppin' Starfield Xbox exclusive. It's a smaller one. But for what it is, it absolutely is fantastic and it deserves your attention. So please check that out. It's on Game Pass.
Absolutely.
The other game I've been playing still, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. About 35 hours in. Really liking it. Nothing really new to say about it, though. It just continues to impress me with how it opens up more and more new mechanics. There are these things called like hero quests you can do, and you'll meet new characters that can become party members, and they each have their own class. So you're really incentivized to do them. And every class or character has interchangeable classes. So there's like dozens of them. And you can really mix and match your party and make all sorts of comps. And it reminds me more and more of an MMO, but with like a single player feel and focus. It's really a special game in the sense that it doesn't feel like anything else out there. And I knew that because when I first started playing it, I died a couple of times in combat because it wasn't your typical turn-based strategic combat. I was like, wow, hold on, I'm struggling here. And again, as the game opens up more, you get more mechanics and more options in combat, more ways to switch things around, ways to power up. It is a really, really enjoyable game. And the story has been fantastic, which has been the most surprising part of it all. So been really loving on Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And I don't know when I'll finish this game, probably at the end of this month, but I'm here for the ride. It's got me.
Let me tell you right now, you got some time on your hands because that game, great game. I remember playing 2. And I'm like, damn, I just wish I had more time. This game is really good, but it's a dedication. 3, I heard is better in so many ways. I look at those screenshots, Matty, I'm tempted, but it's a soul stealer. And I know I just don't like when I
just look at it this way, right? You slim down the Naraka, get the playtime there, you know, you find some time for this.
When I love hard.
Yes, this is true.
You know, I warned you, when I find something that I connect with, it's hard for me to pull off of it. And to your credit, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I obviously could do it. It's just that, you know what happens to me? When I hear I listen to Travis' review and I'm just like,
oh, yeah.
Bro, you are still playing it? He was like, oh, yeah, it was. He's like, and he put in some work. He's like you. You guys put in those hours. So salute. I don't know, man.
I never want to grow out of it. That's the thing. I never want to grow out of a good JRPG. I hear no offense to you, but I hear so many people go like, oh, I don't got the time for that. And I'm just like, there's so many like wonderful experiences that I feel like only JRPGs can afford you the ability to truly like connect with a character because you're there with them through a journey. Like this game truly feels like a journey. It's why I loved Persona 5 Royal, because it was like, you know, I don't always look for the big one, but like that game ended for me at 135 hours. And I was like a whole story being told. And it was like at the end, I was like, that was a experience unlike anything I've ever had before. And it's one of my favorite games of all time. So to me, like if Xenoblade could provide that over that journey, which it's been really worthwhile so far, just love it, man. Hope for more.
No, valid point. And I want to be clear. I don't want to make it say just because a game is long that Cog says no, right? What I'm saying is like, I'm at a point now where in order for me to do that, I have to connect with it on multiple levels, genre, character, style, art style. Like that's why like Ghost of Tsushima got me, Yakuza Like a Dragon got me. There's certain tells. It's no disrespect to Xenoblade. It looks cool, but you know, Shari Dawn, but you know, Otaku. But to my boy Matty, like when I was hearing the dude and I'm like, okay, like there's certain things that's going to disconnect me. And I'm just like, I don't know if I could deal with this for 100 hours. Like I like it, but like I gotta connect. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's all I was. So that's all it is. Like Final Fantasy VII. Like it's Cloud. It's okay. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? It looks cool. Buster swords and materia and summons. Oh yeah. Like that one I believe was what like Blades, Omni Blades or something.
Yeah.
Or Xeno Blade Chronicles, and then those living planet world things.
This is like my first one, so I don't really know
so I was like, all right, it's cool, but I don't know if I can connect with it in that way that I'll stay invested emotionally. That's all it is. It's just a personal thing based on the style of the game.
Indeed. I totally hear you on that. So that's what I've been playing, but we have a warm-up question here that I wanted to use for the third game I'm playing and kind of open up the conversation because this is one of the most popular games out right now. El Plantano Pantera de San Wakando writes in, and let me know if I say that wrong or not. I don't know. What does that mean? Why are you laughing at me?
This is a person who watches IOP.
Oh, no.
And yeah, there was. I have to give context before you start.
No, please.
The reason this person is doing this is because there was a joke about concern of a character creator in Black Panther's game by EA. So the joke between Sovereign, because Sovereign, salute to my brother, he's Hispanic, and I forgot how it happened. Someone in the chat was like, but why can't I have a Spanish Black Panther? So this Viva Wakando, El Platano Panther, all these different ethnicity Panthers started coming into our chat. And that is what this is. So if you see people doing this Wakando forever, Viva El Gato, whatever, that's what this is, just for context. So salute to you for being creative because I know who you are. That is hilarious.
That is amazing.
Give you the backstory.
Saludos Dukes. Did y'all see Multiversus pop the Steam charts at 400K concurrent players? Fighting games have always struggled to keep a casual audience, but it's free to play the way. Consider outside of Mortal Kombat, most fighting games are pretty bare bones with barely any modes or arcade or multiplayer. Or I'm sorry, outside of arcade or multiplayer. And this is the third game I've been playing this week. I fell into it and
How was it? Break it
a
down.
lot of good things to say about it.
That's what I heard.
I'm very surprised.
I'm tempted. I might jump in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm having that love hard moment with it where I'm itching to play it. Me and my friends like have done private matches together, 2v2, because that's kind of like the main core of the game. Because it's like a co-op fighter. That's what I love about it. Some days I'll be honest, like I'll come home and my friends will be like, let's play Guilty Gear. I'm like, I'm not in the mood to square off one-on-one with you and sweat. Like I don't want to do that. But when you can go online and do 2v2, like I could play the support role, I could play a tank role and kind of just like muscle people out of the way. And a friend could play as like an assassin character and knock them out, do the damage a little easier.
Question, is it tag in, tag out?
No, everyone's on the stage at the same time. Yeah.
Okay, break it down. Continue.
Yeah, and well, you can do solo, by the way, for anyone who's interested in 1v1. You want that, you can do that. The game supports it.
I like this
2v2 stuff. But the 2v2 stuff is awesome. The reason I was first not crazy about Multiversus when I saw it, I was like, give me the solo play. But I kept it open mind. I was like, you know what, this looks good because I'm a sucker for these massive rosters of crossovers and whatnot. Like Nick All-Star Brawl, I got that nice platinum for. Played 200, 300 hours of Smash Ultimate. Like I'm all over these types of games, the mascot fighters. So yeah, your boy picks this up. Of course, I'm a Shaggy main right now.
I knew you was taking Shaggy.
All these years of y'all called me Shaggy since about 2015, and I'm here to clap every fool coming in my lobby with this man, and I have been loving it. They made him broken. I'm usually not the guy who picks the broken fighter.
Shaggy's OP.
Yeah, he is. And I'm running around smacking dudes left and right, 4 KOs a match. I don't care. I have earned the right to walk around as Shaggy and beat the life out of fools online. So that's what I've been doing. And beyond that, though, I have played with a lot of characters on the roster because that's like the meat and potatoes of it. At times, I will say, Cog, I wish they just sold us this game. Now, the progression, there's no pay to win stuff. You don't pay to get perks that because you can unlock perks as you stick with a character, their character level goes up. You'll unlock perks and you can't spend money on those. It's only cosmetics. You can spend money on like a premium battle pass tier. But I look at like the coin rollout. The coin rollout early on, as always, at these free-to-play games is good. It's pretty steady for a while. I've put many hours into it. I don't have the exact number, but at least a good handful of like 3 to 4 hour nights into it. And the coin is still coming in pretty strong. So I've had the ability to buy about 2 to 3 fighters so far, which cost upwards of like, the lowest is 1,500 so far, and the highest has been 3,000. Like if you want to get Tom and Jerry, it's 3,000. Shaggy was 2,000, I want to say. Arya Stark is like 3,000. Arya Stark is here. Yeah,
Gabe, I forgot.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's the thing. The future looks so bright with this roster, and there's been leaks. I don't want to spoil it for anyone if they wanted to stay in the dark, but the data mines for some of these characters, I'm just saying they got some ones in store that are going to be pretty awesome.
You getting me
there? Yeah, I'm very excited. They're picking the right characters because there's some good ones on the way. But yeah, like I said, the game feels really good to play. It's very smooth. The roles within fighting are kind of what caught me off guard. Again, like I started off as Wonder Woman. And it was really cool to play as her and body people around and not do all the damage because someone else was playing as Finn, who was an assassin and was just knocking people around for all the extra damage and the kills. It's just, it's definitely worth the attention. Now, Cog, I know you have yet to play it and you're looking into it, but how do you feel about the free-to-play nature of the game? Because as I said, there's times I wish they just sold it to us because I wanted to envision like Smash Brawl. Smash Brawl had like the story mode and you could go to all these different worlds. Or even Smash Ultimate, I thought had a really cool single player component that crossed over all these characters. I look at Multiverse and I'm like, what if you charged us $60? You gave us this same fighting game with like more modes. It is a competent fighter. It's just right now, I think it's free to play state makes it where it's like, what could have been? What could have been? And so I want to know, we're both big fighting game fans. I've sort of fell off the genre because it's just gotten very bare bones, but at least here it's enjoyable because I didn't have to pay for what is a couple of modes and a bunch of great fighters. So that the fun is kind of there speaking for itself. But for you, is free to play the way for the fighting genre? Or is this just a one-time thing because of the roster working really well for people?
It's a good question. It's a good question because, as you know, obviously this is our beloved genre. We love to see it succeed. Outside of a few, the Mortal Kombat and Street Fighters, let's be honest, new fighting games really struggle to really take off, to really adhere to the masses, and maybe FTP is the way.
It's
I
possible.
know, like the hardcore may not want to even hear it, but the reality is, unless you're a trusted studio with a reputation, or your game just looks absolutely phenomenal out the box to charge the 60 or 70, it's going to be hard to compete, especially in a genre that's really not doing well. So part of me is like, well, maybe, even though I didn't like the sound of it, and I remember when we first discussed this game, and we were like, we don't know how we feel. Remember, we were both like, I don't know. And again, if you deliver a quality product, there's no entry fee, so to speak, and then you kind of lean your way in. And then, I mean, again, even though Naraka is not exactly, it has fighting game sensibility. It really is a fighting game. You have to learn character special. Like, they're doing the same thing. Like, from my understanding, the Xbox version now has a couple of rock fighters that were added after it, and you use in-game currency. It's like these little dojo little coins. And you just play the game normally, and you can get these coins. They it's very fair with the abundance. And I think that's the key. If they do these characters and do this stuff in a fair way, where you're not just gouging out the way, I can see it taking off. And this may be the way for fighting games to come back. So now you really have my attention. I'm downloading this game like tonight. Like, I want to see, because not only you put me over the edge. The person who caught my attention, and shout out to him, we had him on, was Miles Dompier, because Miles was like, "Yo, I'm liking this." I was like, "Oh, Miles like it, all right." And there was a couple other people who I know, and some people were like, "Yo, I like it better than Smash." I was like, "Whoa,
that's strong." That's strong.
I was like, "Whoa,
yeah.
What we doing? What we doing, fighting game community?" And they were like, "Yo, I'm just saying." And I'm like, "Okay, now you got my attention, Multiversus. Then now you making me laugh, the Shaggy, the Batman. And then you telling me the Starks and other characters now. And I forget, it's WB. The licenses is crazy.
Indeed.
So now it's just like, and then I think about, shout out to the acquisition talk. This is that WB stuff I be saying, bro. Like, when you got pop culture.
This past week, it was the top free-to-play game on Xbox, and Xbox historically fails with the fighting game, so that just speaks to the popularity of it, right?
Like I said, if it's up to me, like I said, the only ones I left for me that really, if it's not Sega, you keep the relationship fun, WB, if you could somehow get it with these IPs, man, that's what it is, bro.
Yeah, I mean, there's just, to name one, like Lord of the Rings characters are apparently on the way. It's like, dude, that's just...
Are you kidding me? We gonna get Gandalf in it.
Gandalf, Legolas.
I might be Legolas. I might be in, son. I might be in.
It's just like, I looked at the full leaked roster and I'm just like, man, this will be awesome. But like, what's the pace we're gonna get them out at? Because they're in the open beta state, right? And I think they're going to, because of its popularity, I think they're going to do exactly what Fortnite did. Fortnite stayed in open beta for fucking ever, because you get you get your updates out quicker as a game. Like, you don't have to go through the certification process that other publishers do. So you get your updates out real fast. So they're going to build a player base. They're going to rapid fire updates. And I guarantee they're going to build this ship up to the top. And then when they're ready to go full on release, that'll be a big deal. And they'll have the team assembled for it. But I think this game's going to be a big deal because right now it feels fun. When I say Shaggy's broken, there are ways to counter him, and that's the sign of a good fighter. Like, the way he gets broken is you charge up his rage meter, but he's like floating in the air for 3-4 seconds. So he's good in a 2v2, but in a 1v1, you can't just sit there and charge it up that much.
Gotcha.
So, you could do it if you knock him to the other end of the stage, but at that point, your moves are very like one direction. So you can kind of read him. So he's not busted, but I just want to throw out there too, for those who like Nick All-Stars, wish they had the voices. They added the voices in now, but Multiversus right out the box has voices, has like cool interactions. Like if I knock out, let's say I knock out Superman, and I'm playing a Shaggy, he'll say like, "There's no mystery here. That one hurt," that kind of thing. So little references like that. I think Batman will say, "Maybe I need a sandwich." This is cool because like Shaggy has a sandwich in his hand.
Okay, so they got the nuances per cat. I love stuff like that. See, I love that. That reminds me of Mortal Kombat, even though it's not exactly 1-to-1. When this fight starts, they have a personal interaction with the character they're about to fight. I love that. And you know how much, a little bit of voice thing you have to keep putting into the game, but it's the nuance to personalize. I love that.
Absolutely.
So you got me now.
Yeah, because Harley Quinn I was playing as, and like you fly in with Superman and Harley as a team, and he's like, let's do this, Harley. I was like, oh, nice. I love that they're just acknowledging it. Like that's what the crossover is all about. That's what it's all about. So
love that stuff.
Absolutely. Its popularity does not surprise me after playing it. I think you'll enjoy it a lot when you play it, Cog. Because I think it's also, just on a last note here, fighters can be intimidating because we talked about how they're always trying to be hyper competitive. This can be competitive. You want to do the solo one-on-one play and sweat. But what I loved is that me and my friends were like, let's hop on for some pubs. Like, let's just play some online matches together and we'll just goof off and have a good time. And so it's very accessible. It's very approachable, not in just price, but like the way it plays. So even if you're not a big fighting game guru, you can enjoy this game for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Downloads going down.
I have a couple of friends who do not play fighting games and they're pretty competent at the game. So that says something.
No doubt.
All right, we're going to switch gears here for a moment. The Wombologist 81 is our second write-in. Holy Dukes. I greatly appreciate you guys preaching the health is wealth mindset. It was a big part of me getting back into the gym this year, and I thank you for holding me accountable. Y'all talk a lot about physical health, but what do you guys do to help your mental well-being? Personally, I've been seeing a therapist for more than 3 years now, and it's helped me enjoy life and even gaming much more. What do y'all do to feel okay? Cog, I want to start off with you. How do you keep your mental in check?
Yeah, mental's important, man. I think for me, it's two-part. One, sometimes it's okay to kind of define your space and not let anyone bother you for a minute. Because in my case, I get pulled 1,000 directions. Somebody wants me for something all the time, even if it's just the littlest feedback. So it gets overwhelming. You don't want to be rude because I'm a person that likes to help people. So it goes against my culture to not be responsive immediately. But what I've learned is you have to protect your sanity for a very busy person, right? So that's the first thing. The other thing too is I think as men, we have this super tough exterior stuff. So it's like, I'll be like, yo, man, how you doing? And most dudes be like, yo, yeah, all right, fine, everything cool, everything good. Like natural, right? I think as men, we struggle with like, yo, nah, I'm not doing good right now, fam. You know what I'm saying? And people are like, oh, what happened? It's okay to be like, yo, you going through something. Or, yo, I'm depressed right now, and this is why. And you're like, oh, word. Like, I think that's important because I think the acknowledgement starts first before you can correct the problem. Yeah. And I love what, Wombologist just said about going to speak to someone. There's no sign of weakness about that. To me, that's strength. That means, you know what? This is too much. And I need to, and even asking somebody like, yo, is this, what I'm going through too much? It's all right. I think we just got to communicate better. It's that, I call it like that emotional honesty. If you have that with yourself, you can avoid you going down a dark path where you just isolate too much. You're taking on way too much. And you're not addressing the things that's really messing with your psyche kind of stuff. So yeah, and just try to be, I try to be that for people, and my best friend try to be that for me. And we try to be honest instead of like, nah, everything's good, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how that go. But yeah, what about you? Like, how are you dealing? You like just as much as me, you're doing game development, you're doing a hosting a podcast, you got like 3 zillion shows and videos, you know what I'm saying? And you're all over the place. So like, how do you deal with your mental health?
Kind of echoing what you said in your first point. Yeah, I definitely have to draw a line. My line is like, I'm available Monday through Friday, but good luck getting me on the weekends now, unless it's for fun stuff. I just have to draw that line of like working the Monday to Friday and weekends are my off days. Even if I'm available, I could answer you. I'll make exceptions. Like if you DM me, I'll answer you. But for the most part, like when you hit me up for work stuff over the weekend, I'm just, for me, inserting myself back into that mental headspace for even a moment is just detrimental to my recovery because I put my all into my work Monday through Friday, and I deserve the chance to not think about it for a couple of days. So I know we don't work, like a construction job or something like that, where it's like very physically taxing. But the difference with that is like you could feel like my bicep hurts a little bit here. I've lifted something wrong. I wasn't taking care of that side of my body properly. When it's your head, you just feel it growing and getting bigger, and you're just like, I'm going to explode. So you have to kind of like maintain that. I think of it like a overheating system and letting the steam blow out. So even if you're available, you're unavailable. I've mixed that with like just, every month I try to go on a little adventure, big or small. It doesn't have to be beautiful. One of my adventures this year was just like, let's go. I said to my girlfriend, I was like, let's go to Toys R Us. Let's just see what it's all about. I did film content while I was there, but my point being is like the adventure like was just the fun part to me. just going out there. So, treating yourself is a big thing. I'm right there with
Yes.
you. I've gotten to therapy in the past for over a year, and I probably want to go back, not even because I genuinely feel like, oh, I really need it right now, but much like what Wombala just was saying, is there's a healthy living to it of, to me, giving a blank slate my life and them not knowing anything about me, the people I'm connected to, and hearing the most honest interpretation of my events unfolding around me. To me, that's really important. As things have kind of built up for me over the last year, it's why I've started to feel like, I could use it right now. Is the health problems left and right, and just general irritation building up because I just want to live my life, and talking to someone about that and just figuring out how to handle the emotional aspect of it all. So it's really about being attentive to yourself and listening to your body. Listening to your body is a
Absolutely.
real thing. It's something that, Cog, you've really kind of beaten to me. And I remember I heard it for years and I was like, I don't necessarily get it, but I think I really connected with it this year. I know this is physical, but I guess it connected the mental part for me. Was I was at the gym, and I don't know how, but I just started to feel more in tune with like my muscles and what I was feeling for like every rep, and the level of focus you need per set, that I was just casually originally just going like 1, 2, not like lackadaisically, but when you like take your time and you're like, okay, I feel the bicep curling in. It's like, okay, that's it. Like, it's now officially full tension. Now we release. Like when I was doing that. And so I was thinking about my brain with that, like, okay, like I really want to work on the game right now, but what's my head feeling? It's like, okay, like I've just thought of like 4 different things in 10 seconds. I'm all over the place. I'm not focused. I can't really work properly now. So I think just being very attentive to your body and not being hesitant to take that off time is really important as someone who works themselves tirelessly. And I know you do too, Cog. It's one of those things that it's very easy to always get wrapped up in what you're working on. And, you got to realize that you'll work more efficiently if you create those spaces. Because what I was afraid of is taking my foot off the gas and losing track of everything. But what happened as of lately, bro, I have been getting more time off than ever before, and I've been getting more shit done than my entire life. So,
Good.
It's still stressful, but the fact that I'm working this efficiently shows it's working, and that I'm feeling good about it.
No, excellent. And I love what you said, especially where me and you share the whole workaholic, perfectionist. I feel, we always want to present ourselves the best way in whatever we're doing. And the other thing I think for me is important, like I said, to communicate when something is overwhelming, and let these, whether it be work, anything, like, okay, this is a lot, you know what I'm saying, right now.
Yeah.
And this is what I can actually do, the realistic bandwidth, because if I continue at a pace, then mentally it's going to affect everything else, and you're not going to get the best version of me. And it's something I don't want to lash out at anybody. Like, I know when the heat analogy you use is perfect, because then it becomes a pressure cooker. And then one thing about me, I burst, and I don't like that aspect of me. So I try to be like, bring it down. You know what I mean? But by communicating as much as I can about what's actually going on with me.
100%. And with that, that's really how we try to take care of ourselves. And I think the last thing I'll just throw in there is, it's so cliche. It's kind of a gross statement, but I always tell people, like, it's okay to just have your bad days. Like, it's okay to not be okay. There are some days I just feel like shit, and it is what it is. You live to fight another day.
Absolutely. Good point.
So thank you for writing in, Wombologist. We'll shift gears now back to video games. Zudgar writes in, or Zugdar, not Zudgar. Hey, Dukes. I was thinking about the Blizzard acquisition of Proletariat, these Spellbreak developers. I found it interesting that the announcement of the acquisition had nothing to do with the IP, but had everything to do with supporting their own games, World of Warcraft in this case. With Activision and Blizzard reportedly losing many people, as well as a competitive job market for devs, do we see future acquisitions lean less on IP and more on just supporting studios with manpower? I'm usually okay with acquisitions if studios keep doing what they want to do, but this trend could indicate a potential future where smaller devs won't have opportunities for new ideas and IP, but rather just be a part of the AAA machine. I did not have time to finish that JRPG before it got pulled from Game Pass kind of day. Cog, I thought this was a really interesting line of thinking, especially as Lord Acquisition. Has this crossed your desk where you thought, this could be the consequence of a buyout?
I think it's a fair point. I think it's fair. I like what Zugdar, what he's putting down. I look at one of my beloved ones was like Splash Damage that did Gears Tactics, and then they got acquired by Tencent. Right now we're looking at Certain Affinity, right, and how well their relationship with Xbox, what happens if they get acquired and stuff like that. So you do concern yourself that, and I've had this discussion with Travis in relationship to Bungie, even though Bungie's not really support. But like one of the things that upset him about that, he's like wasn't happy because he was like, oh, Bungie was one of the last doing it on their own, independent, and then he's like, they took the easy way out, And I'm like, look, it gives them resources. I didn't really have a problem with it, but
sure.
I think this is a fair criticism, and it's something that we should monitor, because when the reason why I'm thinking about it is I have to look at Activision Blizzard on some level, and I look at High Moon Studios. I look at Vicarious Visions. These are studios that make games I really liked, and then they got kind of absorbed into the Call of Duty train, right? And now that's all you do is you make, now granted, we hearing that the future might be different under a Microsoft regime. We'll get into a lot about that soon, about Activision Blizzard. But yeah, it's something I need to monitor. I can't be Lord Acquisition and be fraudulent, act like there's no repercussions. It's absolutely perfect every time someone gets acquired. There could be repercussions for support studios, and we got to look at the indie scene and how that works. That's all. I still stick on my overall stance that if someone's going under and you can't produce the games that you're able to produce, or your games bomb, I'm still going to lean for acquisition so that you're not out of the game and out of the industry. But my counter is up to you to set the parameters of your acquisition. If you look at Double Fine, you look at all these stories, Obsidian, they did their research. Okay, if we go with you, Microsoft, and then they talk to other people. Sometimes you just can't be desperate to chase the bag to be saved, but are you willing to be saved under the conditions of a Tencent? You know what I'm saying? How are you willing? What are you willing to do to be safe? Is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. And, I think it's something we do have to monitor because we're seeing it happen more over time. But I think we have to keep in mind that for these types of acquisitions to happen, they're usually for really large IP, like a Call of Duty, like a Fortnite, World of Warcraft, right? Where it demands that workforce that you would then fold a support studio into it. Fortunately, every company doesn't necessarily have that. However, IP can grow to a point where I think of Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed, where they have a bunch of studios dotted all over the map, and they're all in some way, shape, or form putting their hand in the cookie jar, even though they weren't like acquired for the purpose of it. I do think that there is interesting opportunity for, like, I think of Molasses Flood when CD Projekt Red bought them, and I think the idea there was like, let's buy them and have them work on a Witcher spinoff is the speculation, and I think that type of stuff could be cool. I'd like to see smaller support studios purchased to spinoffs. That's fine to me. I think what effectively comes with the territory of any buyout is you do sacrifice the will of what I'm going to do. You don't always, why people are speaking so positively about Xbox is you do have that ability to go, we're going to do this. And they're like, okay, cool. So far, it's one of the good things we've heard about Xbox so far. It's just, I said so far twice, but you continue to hear that is the mantra. Like, they're very hands off, and we've covered heavily how that's a negative, but we also have covered how that can benefit a lot of these teams. So that's why a lot of people are going to Xbox, Platinum Games saying,
Platinum, let's go.
Yeah. So I think, it's definitely always going to be a double-edged sword. And then when you throw in these Chinese companies, it becomes a very sharp sword.
Yes, very sharp. Very sharp.
All right. Last question. We'll get into the news. G Schools writes in, greetings, the almighty Dukes. After the countless delays we've had in the past few years, especially during the pandemic era, does the industry need to change the way they announce release dates to save this endless cycle of date announced, date delayed, and the uproar that goes on around it? For example, should companies be more upfront as to where development is and only announce a date once it's gone gold? Please note, I understand the business behind why dates in games are announced well in advance, but I'm just curious as to your thoughts and what you would do to improve this failing part of our industry. Hope you all have I just unlocked a 0.1% rare achievement kind of day. That's very kind of you. Cog, we're in the cycle of delays, Xbox being a victim of said delays. What I want to know from you is Is this something that can be fixed when a lot of companies announce these dates nice and early to start accruing pre-orders? Do you think that we can fix this? And do you think a more transparent look at game development could provide that? Because to me, I've been begging for that for a while. I see ad nauseum developers on Twitter, all social media saying, oh, if only the gamer understood how things are made and their assumptions of the easiest parts of games that people think just happen like that are actually the toughest parts to put together. I sit there and go, why don't we elevate the conversation? If they can't keep up, if they can't understand it, then tough shit, they're out. But you force people and humanity to evolve as we have for generations, and they'll find their way around, I swear. So I don't know why we haven't leveled up the conversation, if you will. And I want to know if you feel that same desire for that, and if this is a logical path to get us around the confusion and anger that the industry experiences, not just with delays, but many other bits of news that break from these companies.
Great question. This is a double-edged sword. The first part about the release dates is I agree. That there's a part of me that we get to the part. I think when we did the crossover episode, Chris Reagan said this. There's a cynical part of me as well, which is like, when a company announces a release date, I'll go, yeah, okay. We'll see when it actually, you know what I mean, kind of thing. And obviously the Starfield thing, we've talked ad nauseum about 11/11. And I feel like that could be avoided, in my opinion, by just utilizing a year and a quarter, right? So maybe you go fall 2022, you know what I'm saying? Or again, maybe that's a better way. But to your point, there's the business side, right? The business side, like, yo, you give them this date, you're gonna start cranking these for your, you know, or whatever. So that's the push pull with that. But then to your other point about the transparency, I am so with you with the transparency. I'm so wanting devs to be like, yo, this is what's going on, yada yada yada. But I gotta be real too. And it's funny we brought this up based on what's happening with Bungie. I don't know if you've been paying attention to it, but it's bad, bro. It's bad. It's to the point. Death threats, and I just thought it was just like a little angry guy on Twitter, like, yeah, Bungie, you better. No, it's real, like sending packages to people's house, calling, like SWAT, like, bro. Paul Tassi has an article out right now detailing some from Forbes, detailing what was going on. And now as a result, Bungie is one of the most, with Destiny community, is one of the most communicative studios in terms, for the most part, of what's going on with the game. Patch nodes, sandbox changes, future plans, expansion showcases, all this stuff. Now we're starting to get a little reserve back. They made a statement because of this, because gamers right now is messing it up for everybody. I just got to be real. It's a strong subset that I got to be real with you, Matty. Like, they making it bad. It's a bad look. Like, not only terrorizing devs, then there's the rise of what I call an armchair dev. Like, oh, all you should have did is, why couldn't you? And they don't know how to give criticism without being disrespectful. So there's a part of me that understands the dev, like, yo, why should I tell these cretins anything because of how they treating us? And then you got to protect the health of your studios. Then you're seeing people now jump off their account. What was that game? They gave an update. People were so mad. And then the dev was like, all right, you win. I'm not, no more updates.
Return to Monkey Island, I believe it is.
Yeah, like they went in. You know what I'm saying? They was just like, and again, so my thing is, when the community's doing this, I can't knock the dev for saying like, yo, y'all not getting nothing, because I'm not putting my personal life out there. And now I gotta be honest, obviously I'm a little bit in the industry. I see the other side of it. And it's just like, we gotta have empathy. We gotta have a little bit more empathy as gamers for the people that create the things that we love. Now, is it not saying that you can't criticize? That's not what I'm saying. We can be critical. It's just the way gamers go about it. The same thing we saw with the God of War. They sending the phallic pictures. You better give us the date and all this craziness, bro. It's just too much. And we're just in this weird pocket now where devs are feeling gun shy to really release. But to the overall question, I think with the release date stuff, I do feel they need to be careful. And the same thing I said with 343, I think they just recently announced, hey, coming soon, yada, 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 or like by next, whatever. Be careful until it's ready. And then you say, here it is. So that's just where I'm at with it. It's a tough question, because I understand both sides here. It's really a tough one. I'm curious where you at with this.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up an excellent point and perspective about what's going on with Bungie, and I'm sure that that's not unique to them. That they've certainly had this experience. I'm sorry, other studios have had this experience in many areas, and it can be concerning even in a positive way. I remember there was a studio, and I can't remember which it was, that was getting like pizza ordered to their office. This might have been Bungie as well. I'm not sure. And people were doing it in a celebratory way, but they're like, we don't like that y'all are just like sending stuff to our office, our place of work. Like, let it kind of be a sanctuary. And yeah, it definitely is a tough line to walk. And I guess you never expect people to be emotionally mature because everyone's different in that regard. But you hope that with more information about the development process, that perhaps people can try to understand. You could mitigate that, but I'm not going to put it on the developers that they're the reason, they're not providing information, so people are acting out of line. Just people need to grow up. But I think you again bring up a point that shows maybe they shouldn't. I would still go for it because I just think information is king. But it is really disheartening to see that story. I was just glancing at it now.
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. And I'm with you. I love, as much as we give 343, a hard time recently, deservedly. But we always say when it comes to their like blog posts and they're like, bro, they're giving you the biz. Like they're giving example. You know what I'm saying? So, and I look at like, obviously I do Last Word podcast when he bought this Ty Guy Travis and Destiny podcast. And like, literally our podcast is basically founded because Bungie does the TWAB, which is called This Week at Bungie, in which every Thursday, boom, and it's this long list of what's going on, sandbox, his upcoming stuff, all type, even the cool things they do in the community, political message, whatever. They are very transparent, right? And again, it's so there's companies that show you good examples of doing it, right? And you just want that to continue and keep that relationship, right? And I think right now the relationship is a little fractured. We got to figure this thing out so that both sides can come to the table again.
Absolutely. So thank you for the write-in, G Schools. And with that, we move into our official lineup of news. Number one, this just in, PlayStation believes Call of Duty can influence console sales. Word comes by way of regulatory documents officially released by the Brazilian government that was then translated by outlet Video Games Chronicle. It's also there that companies such as Ubisoft, Amazon, and Google have chimed in, but the one that truly does catch the most attention, rather, was PlayStation, perhaps due to what is claimed to be stunning hypocrisy. The regulatory documents reveal the following quote from Sony on the influence of Call of Duty. Quote, Call of Duty is so popular that it influences users' console of choice. And its community of loyal users is entrenched enough that even if a competitor had the budget to develop a single or similar product, it would not be able to rival it. Each annual Call of Duty release takes around 3 to 5 years to develop. As Activision releases one Call of Duty game per year, this equates to an annual investment of hundreds of millions of dollars. Approximately 1,200 people work on each version, and another 1,500 are involved in publishing and distribution. Thus, Call of Duty alone has more developers than most game companies employ across its entire development portfolio, including AAA studios. Also, given its plans to recruit 2,000 additional developers by 2023, Activision probably expects Call of Duty to become even more successful in the future. No other developer can devote the same level of resources and expertise in game development. Even if they could do that, Call of Duty is overly entrenched so that no rival, no matter how relevant they are, can catch up. To say the least, players would be unlikely to switch to alternative games as they would lose that familiarity, those skills, and even the friends they made playing the Call of Duty games. Even in weaker years like 2021, Call of Duty still managed to outperform most other games by a considerable margin. Call of Duty Vanguard in 2021, for example, was widely regarded as weaker than previous year's titles, but was still one of the best-selling games of 2021. In other words, even in a bad year, players remain loyal to the brand and continue to buy the game. Xbox's response is about what you would expect. Sony and Nintendo have strong, differentiated offerings, including their own exclusive titles. For example, IDC has identified that key exclusive titles in 2018 include God of War and Marvel's Spider-Man, in addition to other prominent titles such as Last of Us and Uncharted. These titles partly reflect Sony's vertical integration, for example, Sony's film studios owning the rights to Spider-Man, but also its broader strategy of obtaining rights that make third-party games exclusive to its console. Nathan Sains writes in, "Hey there, Straw Hat Matty and Super Saiyan God Cog. With the ongoing acquisition of Activision Blizzard, Brazil has released their questionnaire that they sent to fellow competitors in order to gauge their opinions on anti-consumerism that may potentially happen if Microsoft completes the acquisition. Among some of the companies, or among some of the major competitors, including companies like WB, Take-Two, and Ubisoft, which all agree that ABK doesn't make anything unique enough to interfere with the market in a unique way or in a negative way. Companies like Amazon, Apple, and Meta either didn't comment or know enough to have an opinion. And of course, Sony, which stated that they believe COD is a system seller. And by placing it in a service like Game Pass, they truly think that it is anti-consumer and there's no way for them to compete since they don't have the studios or a Game Pass service to rival it. Do you guys think this is hypocritical? Do you think Sony should give their studios more credit, especially since Sony just acquired Bungie, introduced PS Plus tiers, and invested heavily in games as a service? Or did the Dukes see where Sony might be coming from? Thanks, Dukes. And I really want the special edition Forza Horizon 5 controller, but they're all sold out kind of day. Cog, my friend, what do you think of the latest drama in this acquisition of Activision?
Whew, we are in the main event, right? This is the one. This is the topic.
Indeed.
Man, so much to process here. First off, shout out to the Brazilians. Shout out to the transparency of these, because we get in gems we would normally never hear. Sometimes you never truly hear, at least on the Sony side, like how they feel about stuff, right? So I thought that was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, so much to digest. Okay, let's break it down from the statement. When I heard the statement about how their position is and how they feel, Call of Duty is just, popular, this transformative title, right? And how on a bad year, it does to the letter of the law, what they're saying is not inaccurate, right? I don't want to minimize the impact of Call of Duty on a console, right? So that part, okay, fine. I'm with you there. You're talking about the money. You're talking about the resources invested in Call of Duty. Accurate. Yeah. Few can compete with the Treyarch Infinity Ward, what is it, Sledgehammer trifecta that comes out. Absolutely. You got me there. But then this is where they lost me. Where they lost me was, okay, there is no way no other game could even come close to compete. It can never be rivaled. They use terminology like this, unrivaled. And that to me is a bit of corporate speak. And the reason why I say that is, yes, currently right now, if you want to go letter to the law, Call of Duty is that game, right? But we are in an industry where, one, that's not going to be in perpetuity. There will be something that eventually takes off Call of Duty. I mean, at one point, Halo was that, GTA came around. There are always games. Look at what Fortnite did in the industry, right? Transformative games that come around and you go, oh, this is the new thing now, right? And we look at engagement, Fortnite is number one. Like they have taken that title to the point where Epic Games is eating as a whole company off of the strength of that one game. That one game influenced crossplay and made Sony, quote unquote, bend the knee and say, hey, which Sony promptly asked for a fee if you want to participate, but we're going to get into that. And this is where, again, where they lose me is all your colleagues are like, Ubisoft, okay, no big deal. Amazon, okay, no big deal. Meta, no big deal. Okay, they got it. We get that, right? Here's the thing. Microsoft already said we are making this preemptively multi-platform.
Yeah.
So it's your argument would have been stronger if you knew you weren't getting Call of Duty. Call of Duty is still going to be on PlayStation platforms. That's what the intent is, right? So to me, what's the real issue here? The real issue, if you go ask me, corporate cog, is one, based on your lineup of games and how you operate, your strength is kind of the hashtag just one variety, right? I've always said they've relied on the third-party stuff to influence and to get that. They were smart by getting the marketing rights for Call of Duty, right? So now you get the casual person brand recognition to associate with PlayStation. You know that deal is going to come up, whether it be 2024 or whenever it is. You know, here's the other thing that I think was very telling. They are fearing Game Pass. Mm-hmm. The comments they made about Game Pass, there is no rival it would take us years to make a true competitor, and Call of Duty and that stage devalues our $70 game and all this other stuff. The question becomes, the game still is on your platform. Yes, if it goes to Game Pass, yes, that's a significant advantage. And what they're looking at is the fear of the long game, which I do agree that, listen, I tell people it's not about the hashtag just one of the bangers that the hardcore gamers go crazy about. It's about the Call of Duties. It's about these other games that really, the Maddens and all this other stuff that really drive the industry. And they know, even if it's 2024, 2025, the minute Xbox can say day one Game Pass on the new Call of Duty, they know it's going to get ugly. And what happens is, yes, could you imagine a Series S with Call of Duty on the box? Could you imagine a period $200? You know what I'm saying? Series S right now to the casual gamer. Those are the guys that play the Call of Duty, the new generation of gamers, right? That's what's going to build the base. So I understand the point. I just feel the motive is because you're not going to benefit financially as much as you used to when you had that brand association. And now you kind of, look, we got to call it what it is. It is a position of fear. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You're a little, and rightfully so, you're nervous about what could happen long term. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, even though it's not apples to apples, it's my final point. I know I'm going long.
No, you're good.
Even though it's not apples to apples, I know buying a studio is not the same as, money hatting. But your whole business practices were kind of based off of keeping things on your platform and off of Xbox. Mm-hmm. Let's keep it 100. I'm not trying to play console war here. Like, their strategies, we have the greatest games. And here's the thing why I really don't appreciate the crying and the complaining. You just bought Bungie and your mission is live service games.
Yeah, that was my point. Yeah.
So didn't you make the proper adjustment there? You telling me, Bungie, no one can make a game that's great under your, I'm not buying it. So to me, this is...
I feel like Destiny 2 could easily usurp COD over time.
Listen, bro, it's... Again, I'm not trying to get hyperbolic, but it's very interesting to me that they're acting, it's signaling. It's like, yo, look at that. This is what can happen, but no one else is feeling that way. Mm-hmm. If you look at the other publishers, they're like, okay, fine, they got that. They even mentioned other games, Apex. They're mentioning other games. Other companies like, nah, it's fine. It's cool, dude. Like, cool.
Yeah.
I just think that, last point I'll say, I think it was very telling that when the announcement happened, the very first time that we heard about the acquisition of Activision Blizzard King, the first thing Sony said was, we would hope you honor this game's coming to our platform. Bro, when you jump out the window, then Phil had to make the statement like, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, that's why I tell people can say they don't care about Call of Duty. I don't even care about Call of Duty. I'll be honest, I don't. It doesn't, I'm not in that zone anymore, but I'll tell you, I'll be in that zone if it's in Game Pass day one. Mm-hmm. So I'm done. I'm very curious about you. This is tearing up the internet, this discussion. I am dying. Because, matter of fact, I had to give you your props.
Oh, really?
You had the tweet.
Oh, yeah.
That tweet you put, bro. Normally, I don't get messy, but I got to click like on this one. Shout out to your tweet. Breaking news. I'll let you go from here.
Yeah. So the tweet in question was about Sony saying they believe Xbox owning Call of Duty could influence the user's console choice. So I said, breaking. Xbox believes PlayStation owning God of War, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Horizon Forbidden West, Spider-Man, Days Gone, Bloodborne, Ratchet & Clank, Ghost of Tsushima, and Demon's Souls could influence users' console of choice. And I said that cracking wise is a joke, but what's funny is Xbox actually, after that, had said in the here in the quote, they mentioned that PlayStation has a number of exclusive titles. They list God of War, Spider-Man, Last of Us, Uncharted. They mentioned Sony using their film division to sort of like leverage the idea of exclusivity, even though Spider-Man could have come to Xbox. And then they say they also use the broader strategy of obtaining rights that make, they put in quotes, third-party games, by the way. That's not my script. That's them saying third-party, in quotes, and making them exclusive. So Xbox seemed to have the same sentiment I did, that it's like, y'all have done this for a business strategy for a while. It's very fascinating to see on the front of, this is literally real life console wars. Like, you're actually
this is like bro, isn't it crazy that console war went corporate a little bit? Sorry,
it really did, though. It really did. And it was interesting to see that all unfold there, because I think Xbox's response is fair. I understand PlayStation's fear, but my reality check to them is, we're not responsible because you decided to, when I say we, I'm saying if I'm Xbox, I would say we're not responsible because you didn't prepare yourselves for first-person shooters in the future. You had Killzone, you had SOCOM that could go FPS, you had a number of series that you could have tied into your overall aesthetic, if you will.
Resistance.
Your ecosystem. Resistance, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You had a whole entire ecosystem that was building up, and you decided to focus on what was working for you, and you dropped the FPS games. So why is Xbox responsible now? You have nothing that can rival it. It's like, you had options, offerings exclusive to your console. Maybe they weren't as big as Call of Duty, but things that you could say that were popular, by the way. People would go like, oh yeah, like, I can only get this on PlayStation, and create compelling reasons for them to own the console. I think the reality is, much like you said, Cog, the brand association with Call of Duty is incredibly important. Why is that? Well, if you go on Amazon, I didn't Photoshop this, go ahead, look for yourself. Type in Call of Duty Modern Warfare PS4 Pro. You will see a listing that is still available for sale for a 1 terabyte PS4 Pro that has Call of Duty Modern Warfare on the front of the cover, and in big, bold text, it says PlayStation console exclusive, which we all know Modern Warfare was not. But you already know, with the mass appeal of Call of Duty, you see that I want to experience COD in the best way possible. It's like the 360 era was all Call of Duty. The PS4 era was all Call of Duty. Now it's swinging back to Microsoft's way. So to me, it's just the ebb and flow of COD itself and where the bag is. And Microsoft paid the highest price you can right now in the industry to secure that brand association on their platform. Yeah, it's scary, but you had options. You left those options on the table. And in my eyes, you got the next best one. You got the number one draft pick of the year. Like, you got Bungie. And granted, it's not in an exclusive capacity, but it's the same with COD. It's the same thing with COD. It's like Microsoft bitching that, Bungie and the Destiny 2 brand association, Phil Spencer's, you said it, got a diehard fan of Destiny 2. I think he would have taken that personally. So I just look at that and think to myself, this energy does not match up to me. I just, maybe I'm crazy, but I just feel like Destiny 2 and COD gotta be around the same area, right? Like, they gotta be, maybe not in player count, but they gotta be in the same conversation of like top FPS games on the market that most people are playing. And again, to me, it's hard to get that sympathy because PlayStation had options, excellent options at that. I friggin' love Resistance, dude. I'd love to see more of that, but they've moved into their category. It's like if Xbox, which we know they haven't, was not making all these third-person open world games, and PlayStation absorbed a strong third-person open world company developer, and Xbox is like, well, we can't make anything that matched that. It's like, well, you had options over the years. You chose not to invest in that when you saw it was becoming popular. PlayStation watched over the years as Xbox built first-person shooter after first-person shooter and really crowned themselves the shooter box. Whose fault is that? They have a brand identity, and now they associate themselves with the top FPS. So I completely understand the fear. I think it's rational. It was very fascinating to read these quotes, but quite frankly, I really don't have sympathy. But I don't know if I sometimes read it as fear. To me, I'm like, they're just kind of stating facts. Like, it is just like, yeah, Call of Duty is hard to compete with. This is hard to rival. But I think they admit as well that they say, like, yeah, it had a really weak year last year. Like, if Call of Duty's bad, people have woken up enough that they don't buy it. Not in mass. It was still the top selling game last year, but that honeymoon effect that used to be very strong. And like, again, I see y'all writing about MW2 and it's just not what you think it is. I love MW2, but it's not what we think it is. That game was broken, but we were all loving on COD. So we were all buying. It's one of the best CODs ever. That's the type of effect they created. That has worn off. And now when a Vanguard comes around, there's a reason why it got beat up on throughout the last year, because it really wasn't up to the quality standards.
No, you're absolutely right. And again, the reason why I guess Sony is getting a lot of negative reaction based on these quotes is that, one, it's like, I mean, shout out to David Jaffe. He had a comment and he said it best. It's like, you just, it comes down to, you're acting as if there's nothing you can do to compete with this. There is absolutely, you're the great Sony. You produce some of the best games, and you've already done some really good future planning with the Bungie move, and you're telling us 10 live service games. So you already thinking it. That's why part of me felt that Bungie move was counteracted, because it happened after. Right? It happened after the Activision Blizzard announcement. So to me, you recognize that there was a deficiency. We need to do something, right? So there you go. But to sit there and it does come off like weird energy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We understand to the letter of the law with the facts and the impact of Call of Duty. But the counter I say is that in this particular case, for what we know right now with FTC regulators and all this other stuff, the game is still coming to PlayStation. You're not losing the game. So the question becomes, Matty, what is the motive behind this statement? The motive is, let's be honest, you're signaling that maybe this deal should be stopped. And maybe the motive is your financial gain will be lessened. From earning from Call of Duty, whatever that percentage you get from every Call of Duty, maybe that's lessened because now that's, part of that's going to Microsoft now. And to me, that's what it is. So that's why people are not respecting it, you know what I'm saying, in a way. You just got to be honest, you know what I'm saying? Because, again, we can use countless examples where Xbox or anyone else could be like, yo, you took away this, and now we, you know what I mean? Like, this is unfair to our ecosystem, and we need to look into this. Like, again, I don't want to get hyperbolic, but that's why they're going to get a lot of smoke from this. And a lot of people will say, hey, bro, let's compete. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. People are going to be like, yeah, but Microsoft has this war chest and it's unfair and they're just buying. But here's the reality. It's one thing to have the war chest, and it's another thing to have the smarts and to utilize and make the right decisions. And in 2017, 2018, the Xbox brand was on the brink of extinction. That's why people like Phil Spencer. That's why people like Satya Nadella, because people saw, they're doing something. There's a list of all these studios, Undead Labs, you know what I'm saying, Obsidian Entertainment, Ninja Theory, all this stuff. Okay, they're investing, they're not getting out, because at one point, people thought this brand was dead. People like, you don't even...
360, by the way, not to interrupt you. We're talking post their best era yet. Continue. Bro,
fact. People thought this thing was dead. You hear names like Terry Myerson and people like Phil Spencer not at the table of Microsoft to invest in Xbox. That's why it's a sign of intelligence to try to address the issue. So you got the moneymakers now to say, okay, let's invest, let's go in. And here's the key. As we're talking about COD, the last thing. The key thing that the people forget is Sony's concern with Game Pass. That's the part that surprised me, because as much as people say, Game Pass is failing, this is not going to work, they literally said they have the #1 subscription, thing going, and it's only going to get better. That's the vision people said when we saw this thing. So I get it. It's going to be, I told people every generation, it's a clean slate. It's a clean slate, bro. I'm old enough to see them come at the top, fall, the whole thing. If you'd have told me, speak for Nintendo for a second, if you'd have told me after the Wii U, the Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo would be the most dominant, because let's be real, Switch is winning right now, is the most dominant, I would have laughed you out the room.
I did. I made a video when they predicted 40 million sales. I made a video saying no shot that happens. I kept it up because I was like, that's a huge out. Like, I was completely wrong about that.
And what did Nintendo do? They reinvested. They created their own lane. They went portable. They did this whole form factor, this perfect console. Then they had enough power and enough third-party support, and then boom, it took off. Xbox reinvented itself. They're not playing the hardware console game like that anymore. They say, PC, cloud, You could catch us everywhere, and we got this service.
Mm-hmm.
You can't blame someone for reinventing themselves and now winning at their game, and now you crying. It don't work like that.
Yeah,
it's time to compete. That's just me, where I'm at.
I agree. Yeah, they, as you said, reinvented themselves, went in on Game Pass 2017. Some of us saw, this was going to be a game changer. I know I certainly called it that. And, did I foresee day one Game Pass and all that stuff? No. But, just on the premise alone, it looked very promising. And we see now that PlayStation understands not even just through the statement, but the existence of a overhauled PS Plus. If it was making them money, right? And that's the sole purpose of the business, was making them money. And so if they didn't need to overhaul it, but they felt the need to, I think, future-proof it for an overhaul so that they could be in that mix there. And they have a great library in PS Plus Extra. And
fantastic.
The PS Plus games this month look really good. So they are staying competitive. And I think that's really the more important thing to recognize here, is that they're just coming up short on the FPS end, just like Xbox has come up short for years on the Just One title. It's just they both don't have that piece.
Yeah. And I'll say, I just think they're going to be fine. I don't want to come off like I'm completely destroying them. They're going to be fine, bro. They got God of War Ragnarok dropping this year.
Yeah.
They still got tons of games in the tuck. It's just going to be a competitive generation. And I like competition when people got, okay, let's be creative. Now PlayStation Plus Pre-owned becomes like, let's go. That's good for at least for me, selfishly, for the game.
I do worry for PlayStation long-term because of the investment in live service, though. I do. And I have the same concern for Xbox, just so people know it's not like this imbalanced thing where I think they're taking the perfect route. But with Xbox, we have Game Pass, and I still worry that Game Pass is going to influence how games are designed. I think that's a legitimate, fair concern that your competitors recognizing, like, no, there's nothing better and bigger than this. Like, this is the thing. Xbox knows this is the thing. Your cloud gaming hours are up 1,800%. Like, Game Pass can drive the use of a game. You want to maybe build around that. Consider building around it. You can't tell me that creatives aren't thinking on that level. So I worry about that. But I also worry about PlayStation and their future with live service. And, it'll be interesting to see where both these companies end up in like 5 years' time, because certainly there'll be more acquisitions between now and then, more games we know about that are hidden. So yeah, it's a very fascinating conversation. And I imagine, based off what we learned weeks ago, this deal with Xbox and Activision should be done in maybe this year. It's possible.
Yeah, we'll see. Definitely going to be interesting to track, for sure.
With that, let's move on to number 2. Speaking of unannounced games, Roundhouse Studios was recently confirmed to be co-developers of the upcoming Xbox exclusive Redfall alongside developer Arcane Studios. However, they also seem to have their own game being worked on. This information arrives through LinkedIn, where game designer Brad Fawaz of Roundhouse Studios has a job listing for an unannounced project. This lines up right with earlier rumors prior to the Xbox showcase in 2022 that suggested Roundhouse may be working on a PvPvE comic book game. The catch is, this was being worked on when they were formerly known as Human Head Studios, before being absorbed by Bethesda and turned into Roundhouse. So, Cog, this is one of those weeks where I noticed some old news was resurfacing as current news. I wanted to revisit this discussion just because it seems more people caught wind of it and kind of revise what we were thinking about it all. So again, the LinkedIn post when they were working as Human Head was a PvPvE comic book game. They called it a major comic license. So we're not sure what exactly that could be, but this could be maybe one day Xbox's answer to no Marvel games, no DC games, what have you. And that could be exciting, because that's one thing that PlayStation, speaking of earlier, has a pretty strong grip on, and Xbox does not. So they need that answer. Yeah, right. That Wolverine. I can't wait to see Wolverine, by the way. But
yeah, that's gonna be fun.
I want to know what you're thinking about Roundhouse Studios. This is a team that I've kind of tried to put on the map multiple times during our show, because I think they're kind of an underrated or under-discussed developer, I should say, not rated, because we don't know much about their releases. But this is a team that's a full-on developer. They can produce content. They're not only co-developing one of the biggest exclusives currently for Xbox, but making their own thing. So what do you think Roundhouse may be up to? And if it's a comic book PvPvE game, do you believe that's still in development since they transitioned from one company title to the other under new ownership?
Yeah, well, I hope so. I mean, this is one of those studios that you said it best, where it's like you forget. You forget, like, they're part of the acquisition. It's still part of the Bethesda, the ZeniMax acquisition, that I'm like, yo, that's right. They got it. They got this. You forget. You just put them. You kind of. I have to make the mistake if I lump them all together. It's just Bethesda. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many. Yeah. Like, yo, this sound. Talk about comic book. IP license? What our big license? What we doing? Marvel? What we doing? What was going on? I'm interested off the top. So, if it's PvP versus E, I don't know how I feel about that. I got to see the implementation of it.
Sure.
But I do like the fact that most likely it'll be a comic book or pop culture kind of thing. And of course, I want Xbox to always go for those type of games. So this could be something they just lands on their lap by default based on the development of the former studio. So yeah, I'm keeping my eye all over this because just off the license alone, I want to see how it's utilized.
Yeah, this is my sneaky pick for, a Fallout remaster developer. Like, this is the one I was envisioning. I was like, oh, they're not doing much. They're a sports studio. Like, what a perfect pick for a team that could just catch up a Fallout game. Yeah, that could be the case. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm excited to see whatever they're working on because they were originally the developers of Prey 2. Prey 2 was a game that it was a first-person shooter, parkour, bounty hunting game. And the E3 demo is still available for people to check out online on YouTube and see what it was like. And this game looked awesome. It looked like so much fun, but it apparently didn't pass Bethesda's quality test. And what we saw, the vertical slice looked really good. So a lot of people are still confused to this day why Prey 2 got shut down. But apparently the interactions and relations between Bethesda and Human Head were pretty negative. That's why Human Head left, and they went and worked with another publisher for a while. So it's very shocking to see Bethesda end up reacquiring them under a new name. So that's why all this is strange to me. But yeah, they are working on their own thing now. And I'm keen to see what it is. And it just shows that Xbox has a lot of stuff, as you would say, in the tuck that we know nothing about.
Yes, looking forward to seeing this, especially with the comic book IP. That has my attention.
Of course. Number 3. In a few weeks' time, on August 23rd, we will be witnessing another Geoff Keighley hosted show during Gamescom. While many were expecting solely updates on already announced games, Keighley has posted to his personal Twitter account that Opening Night Live will feature multiple world premieres, game reveals, and more. And Lins27 writes in, "Yo, catch me outside Cog and slipped disc Matty. I hope you are well." Now that we're in August, we turn our attention to Gamescom that takes place in Cologne, Germany later this month. On his socials, Mr. Geoff Keighley has announced he will once again be hosting his Opening Night Live show on Tuesday, the 23rd. He said to expect more gameplay trailers from already announced titles and world premieres. My question is, what are we expecting to see here? Xbox has already announced that they will be at the show. Do we expect any new reveals or updates on first-party titles? Regardless, it'll be fun to see a game showcase in front of an audience again, so I'm excited to tune in. And I know Xbox already clarified separately that it will just be updates on their first-party titles. There won't be any new reveals for them. So with that, Cog, we have a showcase coming up soon here, and we know Xbox will be in the mix. What are you expecting to see from the Keighleys, as Randall Thor would call it?
I know, right? Yeah, I don't expect too crazy. We may get some dates. We may get a little bit more footage on existing things, but I tell people I am not expecting brand new. Here's, Vowed. Nah. Look, I told y'all what 2022 is. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that it's going to be more of a focus of what we already know about. I think that's why they adopted that, we're showing you the next 12 months or whatever it is, right? Of games. And I think they're going to stick to that format, and we'll just probably get a little bit more detail on some titles coming up. But that's it. Maybe if the most surprise is a Game Pass announcement for maybe a third party game that we didn't know about, that the other members that's going to be at Gamescom, potentially.
Like Gotham Knights, maybe.
I don't know, man. I saw some Sony branding on controllers when they were showing off.
That's going to influence the choice of console, though.
Yo, you stupid. That was good. Hey, that marketing, right? It does influence the choice of console. But yeah, at least what I saw, the latest I saw, I was like, oh, I don't know if Microsoft gonna get that, or I know a lot of people were thinking about that too. So my status quo remains 2022 is what 2022 is for Xbox.
Yes. Maybe some release dates, but I'm with you. Not expecting a ton here. It's Gamescom. It's not like I remember last Gamescom was a little exciting and also traumatic, if you will.
Yes.
Because, there was a lot of things coming out very soon. We were like, oh, okay, like we're cooking with gas here. We got some games soon. Like, let's get some updates on them. What's next? I think if you're looking for like really big Xbox announcements, probably the Game Awards will be, where they continue to make their presence felt. Maybe that's where we finally see Avowed for the first time. Perhaps. I don't know. I've guessed this one for so long. I don't know anymore. By the time I see it, I'll be like, okay, sure.
I'm with you though. Game Awards is where we're gonna get at least something.
Mm-hmm.
One of those majors, I feel. Yeah. Now, probably not Ninja Turtles. I mean, too many times they came there, but I think we'll get one of the. I mean, hey, if I'm not banning them from the show. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But we'll get something that we didn't expect. I think they've leveraged that exposure very well. They like that relationship.
Yeah.
And shout out. I don't know if you saw maybe about a month ago. Keighley and Phil in the room, you know what I'm saying, over dinner, and I'm like, what y'all cooking up? Wonder what game you want to reveal at a certain show.
Imagine being Geoff, like all the information he's just got packed away.
Oh yeah,
he's got a lot of information there. One thing worth noting is just before this, on starting August 18th, is QuakeCon this year, and that's where I think if you're looking for Bethesda stuff, again, keep that in mind. I think my guess at least would be they'll segment it. So if you're looking for Starfield, maybe because it's a new IP, they put it on the Keighley stage as like, here's a new look at the game. But I could also see them doing an announcement or a reveal of some kind at QuakeCon to drive some more attention there, because that's where they announced the Skyrim remaster, the anniversary edition. Maybe that's where they announced the Fallout one. I don't know. I mean, it's crazy to think that in 15 days as we record this, I will have my answer. Just a mere 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And I'll have my heart broken again. So we'll see. But
we'll see.
With that, number 4, speaking of which, this is what we call a catch-a-bullet announcement. Logitech has announced it is building a streaming device currently named the Logitech G Gaming Handheld. It is confirmed that it will make use of services like Xbox Cloud Gaming and NVIDIA's GeForce Now. Their partner developing this is Tencent. Dustin Graff writes in, "Hey Dukes, hope this message finds you all well. It's time to talk Tencent partnering with Logitech on a cloud streaming handheld device. Another one throws their hat into the ring with this company. In the article I read from IGN on this, I saw it is powered by Xbox Cloud and NVIDIA Now. I wonder what the price will be. Anxious to hear your thoughts on this in general. P.S. Sony has got to see the resurgence of handhelds and be discussing a Vita 2 internally, at least, or hopefully." And I'm right there with you, Dustin. If they make a Vita 2, see you defining Duke fans. It's been a great time. We're going to find a new host because y'all ain't going to like me.
Listen, Vita's fire. I was like, let's get Gio Corsi back in the bit. Let's go.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let's go.
Yeah,
like,
dude, that was an amazing time. I love the Vita era, bro. It was so much fun. Granted, I was like in college, so it was just like always with me, but man, that would be so much ass. Anyway, Cog, you had been the one who sent me the information about Logitech's announcement. I'm very curious as a new fan of China gaming, what you think about the Logitech G gaming headset.
I was the ambassador for Chinese gaming. I like that. Look, man, I thought it was interesting. I was just like, okay, they're making a dedicated device, and it's going to host, xCloud gaming as well as NVIDIA GeForce Now. And shout out to NVIDIA GeForce. I don't think they get enough props. They were kind of like first in the space, and their cloud tech is extremely impressive. I am not going to minimize that. Some people kind of like it, just as not, if not better than xCloud. Some people really like the latency and the tech that they're using there. I just thought it was interesting. They're making this kind of like all-in-one shop kind of cloud device, and it just made me think of Xbox, and if this is something that they want to enter in or not. We know the rumors. Shout out to Jess Corden. We've heard about the device, whether it's native or not, but at the very minimum, we would be like an xCloud, handheld device or whatever. So I'm just curious. I thought it was interesting. Microsoft was working with them to kind of make this thing happen, and Tencent's back outside again. Yeah, so there's that. So I just thought it was a very interesting announcement based on all the partners and things involved with this. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, you really are seeing a true resurrection of handheld gaming, and it's fascinating, right? Because our phones are getting more powerful, so I'm surprised to see more devices than really ever allow us to play games on the go. We have the Snapdragon G3X with Qualcomm. That was one. Like Razer was involved in that. We have Logitech in the mix, Steam or Valve rather in the mix, the Steam Deck. You got to imagine, to me, the real talking point here is less this and more like Xbox is interested in supporting these platforms, which is good. And what does that mean for where Game Pass can go in the future? We can only speculate, but they got to be looking at a Game Pass streaming device of some kind at this point of their own. We talked a lot this episode about brand association. Maybe we got our hashtag. Just keep that in mind. Let's put that one in the lock and safe, right?
Yeah, that's locked
I'm gonna put that in our chat here.
Yeah. I like that.
Right. And we talk a lot about it. And I think there's a power in like having an Xbox handheld on shelves that says to people, like, you can play games on the go with this. You don't have to like maneuver through an Xbox cloud gaming app on your phone that brings up, in my case, like my browser. I know for Android users it's a bit different. I just can't help but look at this and think, you're only interested in bringing your app to other devices? There's got to be a device itself, right? We've talked a bit about the puck that will be a dongle, perhaps. In fact, there is that, but I think that there is power in a dedicated device. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, come on.
I know you want it, but I'm saying like you could put on your corporate cog suit and let me know, like, yeah, it would be good, but so I'm just...
I mean, with corporate cargo, unfortunately, is going to have to break the bad news.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's let it roll out, because corporate Matt is like, I think there's growth here, but let's hear what corporate cog has to say.
Look, we look at the numbers and we look at this tremendous, you just talked about the, was it 1,800% cloud streaming Fortnite growth. Mm-hmm. Look at this investment we've made in these Azure servers, and you're meaning to tell me we're going to make another SKU? How is this going to work? Right? That's what they're going to say. And I think they're cognizant of, look, can it be done? Letter of law? Absolutely. They can do it. Right? The question, I think, comes down to making another SKU, a hardware SKU that I think they don't want to deal with, especially even though the S, we call Little Man, is doing well. There was initial pushback from some devs like, oh, we're going to have to learn, and now we got to see how we're going to maneuver without the RAM differences, even though the processor is the same, you know what I'm saying? And it still has an NVMe. There's a slight difference, and there's some concession. So I don't think they want to go down the Steam Deck path, so to speak, in which is like, okay, this is supported, this is unsupported, or just from another SKU. It is, much as we want it, it's a developer saying you have to make a third version of your game to play on the X boy. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. Can it be done? Absolutely. But I think in order for us to get what we want, Matty, they have to commit to that at the start of a generation. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, now that's in mind, because everything they're doing to me sounds cloud server rack based. See, they already got these servers, these systems, the Series X, Series S in cloud data centers to stream out to these devices. I think that's the play, because they want it. You see Brazil was talking about their growth. We see Japan talking about this growth, 1,800. I want to know where it's coming from. I want the metrics on what's the pie chart? Who's the region, right? Because that's what they see. And now that's going to invigorate them. Cloud, more. And I think, unfortunately, it goes against what we want. That's all. Not that they can't do it. I just think that's just where their business
focus on the app, not the hardware, if you will.
Yeah.
I respect that.
It's like a conduit. That's how I think how they look at it.
Yeah, and I think it's wise for them just to get on every device possible. I just, I think this may sound like a weird trade-off, and it's not really a one-to-one thing, but I'm like, if you can't get on like Switch, or if you can't get on PlayStation, then I think having a device helps, because sometimes part of the benefit of getting this app onto different devices, it kind of markets itself, right? Like you take a TV out of the box and you see cloud gaming, you're like, oh, okay, cool. What is that? I want to check that out. Maybe, I don't know. But I feel like if you don't have that option on like major gaming platforms that can help you grow your service, then you might have to seek alternatives. So I think this might be a down the road decision for them. We'll see. But I would love to see them get involved.
And I'm with you. Nintendo, what should have been on that over there a long
Yeah.
time ago.
Nintendo. Yeah, what is with those teases that they did? Right now, it feels all weird. Like they were putting switches in the background of everything, and specifically the one with Sarah Bond. I'm like, no. That's not just there. That's not. Oops, I left my Switch there. There's something there. So I imagine they're working towards it, but how long will it be?
How long would it take? Here's the question. Yeah.
Number 5. According to Bloomberg, Activision Blizzard and NetEase, Cog's favorite company, have canceled a mobile World of Warcraft spinoff that was in development for 3+ years. It is said that NetEase has disbanded a team of over 100 developers working on the game. The cause for cancellation is reportedly that the two companies could not come to an agreement, which ultimately called a halt to the project. So I just wanted to dish this one to you because this is the same team from NetEase that made Diablo Immortal. And I think this is actually good news because perhaps the reception of Diablo Immortal, because it's going to be a commercially successful product, but perhaps the reception and potential damage to the Diablo brand maybe led to a additional reason to call it quits here, would be my speculation. But the facts remain here that apparently they couldn't come to an agreement. And World of Warcraft fans are already down bad enough. Like they don't need another spinoff that's going to milk them dry. So what do you make of a project 3 years in development being canceled between NetEase and Activision Blizzard?
Yeah, that surprised me. 3+ years. And I was just thinking about the potential of a World of Warcraft mobile. Like, that's huge. So, like, my question is, like, what couldn't you agree on? like, where was the, sticking points where it just fell apart? And as much as I know a lot of people are not fans of NetEase, look, the mobile market, they got a lot of things in there that are really good. And I know Diablo, is what Diablo Immortal is. I know the microtransactions, is crazy, but people do like the game, right? So it's interesting, and just learning more about NetEase, and I know they're working with Bungie, and apparently there's going to be some mobile thing coming out, and I've been experimenting just to see, because obviously I played a Rocket Blade point, so let me download the mobile just to see, trying to learn about the company and stuff like that. The interaction is pretty straightforward. The app runs well, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's got to be, I mean, I shouldn't say it's got to be. I'm wondering if it was some type of philosophy thing, financial, what was the straw that broke the back here? Because to me, that's a slam dunk. Anything WoW mobile, like if you integrate it into the main game on any level, to me, that's a win. So yeah, this is very strange. When I saw this news, I was like, okay.
Yeah, and I'm curious, is Warcraft 3 Reforged, is that connected to World of Warcraft at all?
Not sure, not a WoW guy.
Yeah, neither am I. I'm just
good old jazz questions. He's WoW.
Oh yeah, true. He is. Make him pull his hair out with this, because I was just thinking what you said, like everything Warcraft being a slam dunk. I think with that game being like staggeringly low reviews, that perhaps they are a little hesitant to drop something in the market that they don't think will help the brand, but in fact hurt it. Because I think that's where it all started to go downhill with the Warcraft branding. But I don't want to speak too authoritatively on that. Anyway, that's what's going on with Activision Blizzard. So a lot of news with them as of lately. But we move on to number 6 with some really positive stuff here. So Wo Long Fallen Dynasty, day 1 on Game Pass, apparently coming at the beginning of 2023. Very excited for this one. And with this news, I'm even more excited because they confirmed on their Twitter account there will be a character creator, challenging gameplay, a new morale system, weapons used with Chinese martial arts, famous warlords from the 3 kingdoms, creatures and fiends from Chinese mythology, sorcery, online multiplayer, and a gameplay trial in the near future. So, Cog, I mean, this is at least words on paper suggesting this truly is Xbox's Neo, and it's something I think they really wanted. So I want to know how you're feeling about a trial soon, character creator, all that good stuff, because all of this is stuff carried over from Neo. I'm loving what I'm seeing here. So fire away.
Yeah, this is exciting to see this tweet. I was like, okay, didn't know we were getting all these robust features. And again, I'm a huge fan of like, Chinese mythology, the martial arts and stuff like that. So the fact that they're going to be implementing this into the game, I want to see if it's done in a cool way. Getting a trial is always something I like. That it bodes confidence to me. Like, okay, you want people to go check this out.
Good
this
balance
is a big get.
Test too.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a good sign. I think it's a good get for Microsoft. The cachet is here. The people behind this, tremendous reputations. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited. I'm excited, man. This
Mhm.
is one that I'm liking. Like I said, they're doing much better, whether it be the Japanese game scene, Chinese game scene, having these different type of games on Xbox is always good. Now, my understanding, Wulong most likely is not a full on exclusive, probably like a timed, I'm assuming at some point. But the fact that its brand association is literally with Xbox, it's a huge deal. You know, because this is something that generally you probably wouldn't see debut on an Xbox console first. So this is exciting.
I'm glad they're starting off with a character creator though, because I was worried with this being a new franchise. That when they did Neo, for example, they started off you had to play as William, and I didn't like William. Neo 2, I just connected with so much more because not only did they have a character creator, but like an amazing one at that. It makes some really cool looking characters. There were actually like codes you could put it online that people would like make all sorts of characters online. You could like take their creation just by pounding in the code. So that was pretty cool. And knowing that they're starting off with that makes me really happy just off the get-go. The multiplayer 2 is really exciting because Neo 2 is a sneaky good co-op game. It really is. A lot of people don't talk about it in that manner. They talk about it as the Souls-like, and I think it is the best Souls-like competitor out there. But it is a game that you can play with friends. You don't have to beat the mission first on your own and then come back in. You can play start to finish co-op. It is,
Oh wow.
yeah, it is awesome. And I love that because they do scale and balance properly for co-op, but it's also just a lot of fun that way. Like I go back and forth. I play a little single player, go play a little co-op. So this will be, I think, a great game for Game Pass. And whenever that trial comes out, I'm right on top of it. And I'm sure you will be as well.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Number 7, Dead Island 2 re-reveal. It's planned for Q4 2022. Tom Henderson has the report. This comes from his article at tryhardguides.com. He's floating all over the place. He writes on some random sites I've never heard of before.
Tom is outside.
Yeah.
He's all over the place.
He writes, quote, "It's understood that the next installment will have a big focus on cooperative play with several play sessions at Dambuster focusing on the feature. In addition, it's also been suggested that the cast is completely new with 5 to 6 new characters coming to the game. Since my original report on my YouTube channel, several news sources have since reached out back to the claims that the game is in a decent state of development. One source who had played the game has said that it's probably my most anticipated game after playing it. Sources had also backed the report that Dead Island 2 takes place across several different locations, including Hollywood and San Francisco, and it is expected to launch by March 31st, 2023, end quote. So, Cog, could this be one of the world premieres at Gamescom? It's a game that shocked it didn't get canceled, but Dead Island 2 is hanging on, and it appears it's coming along fine. So how do you feel about this one? Because I was a big Dead Island guy way back.
Really?
But, oh my God, I loved Dead Island. I loved Riptide. I played the hell out of these games, but Dying Light's what took over for me. That was like,
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Like, because I looked at it, just something about it. I don't know why. I mean, the promos are funny, but it's just like, I don't know. It's just something about it that I just didn't gravitate towards it. And to be honest, I was like, oh, this probably is going to be up out of here. So now to hear them come back and it's alive and strong with Tom, yeah, this is something that I could see at a Gamescom showcase. And then they're like, okay, boom, here's the date, here's an updated trailer, the kind of thing. So salute to them. I don't want the game to die. Hopefully, you know, it's a good game. You know, that kind of thing. I need to see more before I'm like invested yet. I mean, it's something I need that. It ain't click yet where I'm like, okay, now, you know what I'm saying? You got my attention. I'm still waiting to get caught up in the mix.
Yeah, it's got to show out. I think Techland was probably wise to abandon this one when they had the chance, and they moved on to Dying Light, which has been much more monumentally successful just on being able to get the game out the door. This project's seen 2 different developers, so there must be, I have to imagine there's got to be something in this game that they look at and go like, we have a thing here that we need to get out. So if it's just another zombie co-op game, I will be surprised if it's solely just that. There's got to be more, like maybe the trees, the skill trees are great, or the loot is really cool. I don't know. We'll see. But Dead Island 2 still in development, re-reveal planned in Q4 of this year. Number 8. Guardians of the Galaxy's narrative director, Mary DeMarle, who took home the Best Narrative award at the Game Awards last year, has joined BioWare to work on the next Mass Effect game. Braden writes in, "Hey Dukes, I just beat Mass Effect Legendary Edition for the first time, and it is now my favorite game of all time. With the news of a new writer being added to the team at BioWare, I'm curious what y'all want from the new Mass Effect Shepard's Return, importing your Legendary Edition save. Thanks, boys, and have a Together We Fought as a United Galaxy kind of day. So, Braden, just enjoying that Mass Effect. Cog, I want to get to you first, man, because I know you're the guy who took off the shirt at the Last Stand Media live event, and there it was, N7. You talked about Mass Effect 2 being one of the greatest games ever made. So more is on the way, and it looks like a competent set of hands is laying their fingertips all over the project. How are you feeling about this?
Yeah, I mean, look, positive. I mean, we could hope that the Legendary Edition, shout out to Braden, like, so many people played it. Some people fell in love with it. Some people were introduced to it for the first time. So it's this whole now new generation of gamers that are now understand what Mass Effect is. And I'm hoping that they take that feedback that they saw and implement it into this style of a game and not as much the Andromeda formula. I like the Andromeda combat. There's certain things of Andromeda I didn't mind. But when it came to the narrative, the story, the engine, let's do what needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? Even I think even Unreal. I think, do we get confirmation? I hope it's Unreal. I forgot if we got confirmation.
I believe it was a leak that was they claimed wasn't accurate. Hold on, let me just.
Okay, yeah. Well, you searching it up. But to the question, what do I want? Look, I'm picky. Mass Effect is my baby. Like, I'm gonna be. Of course, there's a part of me that wants some level of Shepard involvement. We know Liara is in it based on, spoiler, the quote unquote, Reaper under the snow, whatever that they saw kind of thing. So see some of the cast that would make sense, you know what I'm saying, from a, race standpoint that live, their lifespan are very long. With Shepard, look, I get it. Human beings, like, especially man's supposed to be dead if it's so many far years. I get it.
Structured him in two. It's fine.
That's what I was saying. Like, they found a way to gamify him in, right? So if you're not going to do Shepard, which would be disappointing, but you got to link him. You got to link him in a substantial way, even because he's too important not to be. And I don't want like some little small reference in a codex. I want like some Shepard content on some level if he's not the main person. So yeah, that's where I'm at as far as importing the Legendary Edition save. Ooh, that'll be interesting. I don't know if they have that technology. I don't know if they want to go back down that path again.
Yeah.
One of the most, I said it at the LSM presentation, that to me was one of the most transformative things I've ever seen in a video game, where your save imports and continues into the next game, to 3 games. That's crazy. So yeah, I mean, my expectations are keep the spirit of what made the original trilogy great. Do not do the majority of what you did in Andromeda, minus the combat and maybe the planet traversal. That's it. Other than that, stay the hell away and make sure you pay homage to the Shep.
I agree. To answer your question about Unreal Engine, there were job listings that suggested you have experience with Unreal Engine 4 and 5. So I think that's good news for that game, because I know that they're using Frostbite for the next Dragon Age game, and that's going to suck. But hopefully with the time they're taking with it, it'll still come out well, because like Dragon Age Inquisition is like less of a Frostbite issue and more of like a design problem. With how progression works in that game and how it's like kind of crafted like an MMO. So I'm not going to send that game out like it's a failure, because I want to give BioWare a chance, but I feel more confident in Mass Effect because they're learning the CD Projekt Red lesson, right? Like they're going, okay, we're not going to use Red Engine. We're going to use Unreal. We're going to work with Epic. So I'm hoping that BioWare is taking the same path, because all of Mass Effect was made on Unreal Engine 3. And it's no wonder the game happened to work really well. But I'm actually very encouraged by this hire. Guardians of the Galaxy was way more fantastic than any of us expected. And I think the driving reason for that, as we talked about in our spoiler cast on Defining Duke Ultimate, was the story. The story, and that they gave you a really strong illusion of choice. Like there was no alternate endings or real different paths you could take. It was all just to give you some agency. But I'm hoping with BioWare and their DNA, if you will, being about, well, you make that choice and something does happen, that they can really flex their narrative muscles here. And they've got the right talent on board, because one thing that's important to note here is I'm not a big Guardians of the Galaxy fan as like a roster of heroes, but that game made me care about the Guardians of the Galaxy. And I think that's a testament to the emotionally driven writing and the character interactions you could get. Because you could just go mission to mission if you wanted in Guardians, or you could walk around the ship. You could talk to people, have conversations with them. And that's important because that's literally what Mass Effect is. That's literally going around your ship, having those companion arcs, those companion missions. So very much what they made with Guardians, minus just different outcomes, is very Mass Effect like. So I think they got the exact right person for this. And hopefully she's around for a long time because BioWare's had a lot of trouble retaining talent lately.
Yeah, good point.
Number 9, last bit of news. Coming soon to Xbox Game Pass. August 2nd, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands to console, PC, and cloud. On August 4th, Shenzhen IO on PC Game Pass. August 4th as well, we get Turbo Golf Racing for Series X and S, PC, and cloud. 2 Point Campus, Day 1 to Game Pass August 9th on console, PC, and cloud. And Xbox noticed the simulator hype. On August 11th, Cooking Simulator comes to Game Pass on console, PC, and cloud. Expeditions Rome on PC Game Pass on August 11th. And lastly, on August 11th, Off-World Trading Company, PC Game Pass. Anything calling your name here, Cog? Because I'm feeling a little 2 Point Campus, a little management sim, if you will. I know Jez really liked 2 Point Hospital, so I've been wanting to get into that, but then I held off. I was like, let me just wait for the new one, and I'm excited to get into that.
Same. You read my mind. That was literally what I was going to say because Hogue put me on to 2 Point Hospital, and I was like, I think Hogue does like his own little like games of the year or whatever. One year he had like 2 Point. I'm like, what?
You put it as game of the year?
He had it. It was up there like a finalist. Like, he had it up there high, and I was like, wait a minute, Hogue. Yeah, I was like, what are we doing, Hogue? He's like, I'm telling you, cuz. So I was like, you know me, I don't like to just slander something and I ain't played it before. Yo, it was good. It was good, man. It was really good. I was doing my little doctor's office, got my patients coming in, doing a little simulation. I'm like, you know what? I get it. And the art style is just very fun. It just doesn't take itself too seriously, but it can get intense. And then I was really starting to feel like I was running stuff. So yeah, 2 Point. I think those are Sega. 2 Point is the Sega.
It is.
Yeah, it is. Sega. So I got to support. Of course.
Yeah, I typically avoided these games because I remember when I played Civilization 5, I did a whole campaign, and this was when I was like a college student, so I had like ample free time, right? And I knew I had ample free time, and I remember being addicted, and I literally uninstalled the game because I was like, I don't have like an addictive personality with that. I was like, that's dangerous. Like that was 18 hours that just snapped out of my life in a flash. So I'm gonna carefully step into 2 Point Campus because I know how it gets. It's why I've kind of stay away from Power Wash Simulator. My friend was streaming it to Discord last night. I was watching him, like he was up till 4 a.m. because he was trying to get that last 5%. He's just going all over. I'm just like, dude, I lose my mind, but I wouldn't get off the game until the job was done constantly. Yep. So I know how I get with like the just one more turn, just one more this, one more that.
That OCD Ben was talking about.
It's really targeting it. And I think I got a little bit of that in me. So
yeah,
I'm going to carefully step into 2 Point Campus, see what we got going on here, but I'm excited to check it out.
No doubt.
But we got to wait a couple of days until then. And now we get into our Game Pass / Back Compat pick of the week where you did the selection, Cog, and I like your pick as the Gaming Ninja. So please enlighten us.
Look, I had to take it back to the essence. And, we've been on this, we was at Wolong, we've been talking some Team Ninja and the spirit and the essence. And I was like, man, I haven't played Ninja Gaiden in a minute. And I was like, you know what? I see this Master Collection.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I haven't thrown it on. I haven't played it. Bro, I haven't played those things in so long. It's been, bro, like, and shout out to Ryu Hayabusa, the ultimate ninja, one of the first. Now, granted, I am a Joe Bushashi shinobi ninja, but I got to bend in it. Ryu Hayabusa kind of made the video game ninja cool. He transcended, and I felt, and then even to the point where he was included, I believe, in the Dead Alive series and stuff like that, and other things. But like this was the Ninja Souls game, like of its time.
It really was.
And like I remember loading it up, and I'm firing it up now, remastered in a way, and it got your 4K, you got your 60. but like the simple things, like going up to a surface, doing wall running to the side or the joint, the weapons, the unforgiving gameplay, the punishing bosses. You know what I'm saying? There's certain ones that used to terrorize me. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, dragons and evil ninjas. And then you got the whole collection. And like, you know what was crazy when I go back to this game? How it still holds up. I'm like, yo, outside of the camera could be a little fussy in today's standards because camera controls got way better in my opinion, today's standard. But outside of the camera being finicky sometimes, it is just a fast-paced, furious, and you feel powerful when you accomplish stuff. The weapon switching, the spell, like it really, and then the cinematic just one energy of the confrontation, the story. You know what I'm saying? Simple little nuances that they really Itagaki-san, man. He was in his bag with this. Now, granted, it's not black. This is the Sigma versions. I know my hardcore ninja communities don't come for me. I know black, we know is the goal. I get it. Yep. Yes, I know they took the speed running and the turbo modes and stuff. I get it. But for those new to the series, if you've never played a Ninja Gaiden game and you're a Dark Souls person, get over here.
Yeah.
Get over here, bro. This thing is nice. It holds up. I was just playing. I was like, man, this thing is still nice. So I downloaded the whole thing. The whole collection is out there on Game Pass right now. Go check that out. 1, 2, and 3. I'm slowly going through all the games. And for my people who are not Souls fans, so let's be honest, I'm not the Souls guy back then, but back then when Cog was in his bag doing these type of games, Ninja Gaiden was the game that brought me into it. I was like, oh, I love this. But they got the easy mode, more cinematic mode for you that you don't, you know what I'm saying? If you feel super challenged or whatever, they got that. But no, it's a fantastic game. And to think, last point I'll say, to think Xbox had this as a console exclusive.
Twice.
Think about that. Twice. This is a powerful title to have and a benchmark that they've had. A shout out to, I believe, it was Brat Podcast. We used to always talk about this. This is what we used to like Xbox, like, yo, like this is what people fell in love with Xbox as a brand. These type of titles, the Jade Empires, you know what I'm saying? They just had these cool, you got Halo.
It's so funny, like you associate Japanese games with PlayStation, but you think of like the core essence of Xbox with like Dead or Alive, Ninja Gaiden, Jade Empire. It's like there was a lot of Shenmue 2. Yeah, it's so interesting you point that out. That was really the heartbeat for a while for them.
Yeah, bro. And that's why I feel as a Sega kid, we gravitated to Xbox. Xbox became, this was the Sega that could have. So we all, once Dreamcast died, it was like we were homeless. We needed a home. I didn't have anywhere to go. I'm like, oh, this is how I used to live. Yes. And I fell in love with Xbox.
The Xbox
I'm not
shelter,
gonna lie. Yeah, they were my shelter, man. Every true Sega kid views them Xbox. If you're a true hardcore Sega, you fell in love with Xbox fan. And I tell people all the time, I said, I'm a Sega fan, but Xbox quenched that need when I didn't have a home anymore. So get that Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, y'all. Check it out.
Yeah, I played it a couple of weeks ago when it first came to Game Pass, and
you sparked it.
Yeah, it's so good still. I took the different route though. You went to the original. I went to the one I never played. I had never got my hands on Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, which is more of like an action game. And that game's so much fun. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Like, it's definitely flawed. It's not what made the series popular. As a series entry, it kind of fails on that front. But if you're looking for like a high gore action game, oh my God.
Gotta have fun.
Delivers.
Let's go.
With that, we get into our final questions of the show. Brock Augustus follows up with us from last week. You may remember this one. Dukes, would you kindly read this post? First off, holy shit. I listened to your suggestions and played BioShock for the first time. My mind was utterly blown. Remember, this is the guy who wrote in last time and said, I haven't played these games. And we said, you have not been spoiled of this. You owe it to yourself to experience BioShock. He goes, I'm only about halfway in, but I can already say this has solidified itself as one of my favorites. This leads to my question this week, and this one's for you, Cog. Could a narrative FPS game from Xbox be Cog's fabled Just One? I know Cog is constantly fantasizing about a third-person narrative Last of Us-like experience, but it seems to me something like BioShock is more plausible. Once the Activision deal closes, Xbox will own Call of Duty, Halo, Doom, Wolfenstein, Quake, Fallout, Overwatch, the list goes on. They clearly have the tools to make a great FPS. Could they focus their narrative minds here and try to make a story that utterly blew us away? And Would something like this satisfy Cog's need for just one? Would love to hear what you boys think, and have a Chris Ray Gun uploaded 2 videos, but my Wi-Fi went out kind of day.
Amazon's at the bell. Answer the question. I'll jump in with why determination and just one. Be right back.
Yeah, so to me, I actually think this is a really interesting way of approaching it, Brock. It had never crossed my mind. Maybe it's because I've been brainwashed by Cog over the last year of podcasting with him, where I always think of just one as third person. But you make a good point here that when I think of games that have influenced me and the games I think about with like top storytelling, I do think BioShock is like top of the list. And like, that's not a third person game. Do you need the third person to really connect with that character? It's hard to say, because one thing that first person does well is it hides the character from you, like who you are. You don't see that person the whole game. So like in the case of like BioShock 1 or BioShock Infinite, when you learn those truths, that is extremely important, because it's like this reveal that was kept away from you because of the actual gameplay mechanic of the game. But the man, the myth, the legend is here. And I want to know what you're thinking about. Could this just one game ever be a first-person shooter? Because I think I was just saying to the audience, think of the top storytelling games that are available to us. I think BioShock's really like up there in the top 3, like of best stories ever told, especially if you're including like 1, 2, and Infinite. And I want to know for you, Cog, what you're thinking about someone who needs that third person. Could you take a Doom-style FPS, but they put their narrative minds into it, and it's something that at the end, I don't know if you had a similar experience, but when I finished BioShock Infinite, it is an experience that sat with me forever, because I'm like, the motions I was going through, I was like, what just happened? Same feeling when I finished BioShock Burial at Sea Part 2. Best DLC of all time. So I want to know, Cog, could you get this type of moment from a first-person shooter, or do you need that third person, as Brock is asking?
All right, shout out to Brock. Here's the thing. You could get the same feeling, yes. I agree with that part. You could get the same feeling. It's just like I played, Wolfenstein was phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? The New Colossus and all that stuff, and BJ Blazkowicz's story. You could get the emotionality of a great narrative in an FPS game. I don't want to minimize the genre, but I think the reason why it first of all, it does not qualify hashtag just one. I got to be clear. These are not just one. These are great games. Great in their own right. Outer Worlds, you don't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, one of my favorite games. It's just that there's something to be said. I'm going to take a Sony game. Look at Last of Us. Look at Ghost of Tsushima, right? There's something to be said when you see your character and it's graphically represented. The graphics are really nice in an environment. There's a connection to character in an environment that is just, you can't mimic that. Like there's one thing with the FPS, and yes, you see in the environment stuff like that. Some FPS gets creative. You see your hands, you interact with stuff, but there's something about the slow walk through the cherry blossom,
and it doesn't hit just right if you like just see a gun kind of bobbing and waving.
Because it feel like I'm about to play Halo, and that's great. But it's something to be said when I'm Jin Sakai. And that breeze hit, and you see the waves of the cherry blossom, and you see something out in the distance, and then you are fighting, and you see your character jump into the stances and do the combat. The visual representation of your character doing the actions you input is another form of connection. I'm not saying it's better. I'm just saying that it's why people connect with, especially if the model looks good, right? The model looks good. You get nice effects and stuff like that. Think about Last of Us, the visceral nature. You know, you throw somebody into something, it just hits different. It feels like you're playing the interactive movie. And I think that's all I want. To me, Xbox is the master of FPS. They are the master. To me, that's what they do better than PlayStation. When you want to talk about FPS, listen, I'm this going to sound very fanboy. I apologize, but I got to be real. Because of this and the offset analog, I can't play FPS on PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? I can't, like, this is the way you do. I learned from this controller. This is how FPS is supposed to feel, the tight, the offset, the precision. That's what I love about Xbox. And they do it better than anyone else. So it just comes down to this one little deficiency that I just want to see a little bit more in. And that's why I love PlayStation. To me, nobody does that experience better than PlayStation. I just got to be a buck. And I know Xbox fans call them walking simulators, and that's cool. But when that God of War hit, you see, Boy, yeah, that boom, and you got that accent, and it comes like, bro, it just hits different. And then what I love about it, you can get very cinematic, over the top. Think about when you first play Load Up God of War, and the stranger come through and he's bashing
that
you
boss
through
fight
houses,
is so
bro.
good. Yeah,
And you see, it's a movie thing, bro. You
so
gotta,
good.
woo, it just hits, and that's all I want. They're the king of FPS. That's why I know I'm not worried about it. I know Ninja Theory coming. I know it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried. I just need it, especially the new IP, the new characters of the generation. Where's our Jin Sakai? Where's our Aloy? Aloy, always butcher the name. You know what I'm saying? But where is that in that genre? Because then guess what you could have, Matty?
Mm-hmm.
You could have an Xbox Multiversus, and you could put all these great hashtag just one characters. And guess what? You got personality. You could put the grounded character. Mm-hmm. You could put, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Senua, all the new compulsions, whoever, throw them in there. That's what I need. It's brand identity.
What I would do for an Xbox platform fighter, man. We got kind of there. We started to smell that territory with Killer Instinct. And I loved Killer Instinct. Again, I always say, like, that was the best game to launch with the Xbox One. I thought Xbox One had great launch games, but Killer Instinct was like it's free to play. I paid the $20 to get the full version. I was in that shit. I would kill to see that over like a new Killer Instinct game, though. I would love to see them, even with the current roster we have now. Like, I think there's enough history there with all the IP you own. Like, Bethesda's fully in. You could put the Vault Boy in there if you wanted to. You could put the Boakeen in there. I mean, that already sells. Every Bethesda IP already sells itself. And then you bring the Xbox universe in, and then the Activision universe in, like Call of Duty Soldier. It's just,
you know it.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Mm-hmm. All right. With that, is my camera messing up on your end, or?
Yeah, on my side, it just did some weird joint.
Yeah, it's like completely splitting me off on my end too here.
Yeah, it's just weird. I hope it didn't affect the video.
I hope not. I don't know. Hope not. We'll just roll with it. I mean, we're at the end here.
Yeah, we're at the end.
We'll roll with it. My camera may have overheated. Oh, wait, it looks like I'm back. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, let's move on.
Anyway, keep going.
Adam Razak writes in, "Hey, Dukes. I was just curious if either of you had a passion for cooking. I've recently been dabbling in learning more recipes as a pastime, and I found it to be very rewarding and oddly relaxing. Thanks, and have a where's the lamb sauce kind of day."
I wish, brother, man. That's
you're not cooking Cog.
Not a cooking Cog. Unfortunately, I spent way too much money on meal prep and all type of foolishness, and single life Cog right now. So they got them nice meals, ready for you. But yeah, like I was gonna ask you, I was like, is this a Matty skill? Is this something that Matty is able to do?
I don't want to talk myself up because I'm not an excellent cook by any stretch of the imagination to me. Because I mean, I'm not, a lot of these cooks are all about the presentation. I don't care about that. This thing can look like ass as long as it tastes good, right? So that's how I roll. So I will put food on my plate that looks miserable, but I know it tastes good. So I don't care. Like, I just made a vegan meatloaf with my mom, and you literally put in like a food processor a ton of different things like mushrooms. You put your barbecue sauce, ketchup. You put a ton of things, onions. So when you mash it all up, you put it in the oven and you bake it. And when you bake it, it comes out as a meatloaf and it tastes just like one. But like, I don't know, that type of stuff looks nasty, but it tastes so good. So I don't know. I have a lot of fun cooking. My problem is really that I love Asian food, and Asian food ingredients are tough, at least where I live, to get my hands on. That's where I love cooking. I love getting in the cut. And my biggest flaw as a amateur cook is taking the big meals constantly. Like, I love to make the full course meal. I really do. But I always like overcommit, and I'm in there for like 3-4 hours just working away. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but I feel like I'm in there for 3 to 4 hours just in the gauntlet working away. And I've learned this year, my goal has been learn simple and easy. So I have been making things like the meatloaf, which is easy. Throw shit in a food processor, churn it up. It's all natural ingredients. Put it in the oven, bake it. Now you got meatloaf for the week. And I know a lot of people cringe at meatloaf, but I'm telling you, I know Dustin in particular hates meatloaf. So I'd always send him pictures of my meatloaf. I should have done it when I had it today. But it's meatloaf. I think it's SpongeBob with the holographic meatloaf. But it's really good. I like it. But yeah, I've tried to teach
I like
myself this
meatloaf too.
year the easy stuff, right? The pasta dishes, that type of stuff that you can throw together in like 20 minutes, 30 minutes tops. And trying to scale up. Like one of my favorite things I make is I call it, look it up, ladies and gentlemen, easy and delish. Pizza Dilla. Pizza Dilla. If you're like me, Pizzadilla. Pizza Dilla, like a quesadilla pizza.
Okay.
The reason I recommend this thing is because if you're like me, I could literally eat Italian food every single day, but I get bad acid reflux if I do take all that tomato, that acidic food in. I've literally done it myself so many times, just self-inflicted wounds. However, the Pizzadilla is like a good fix if you're looking for that pizza flavor, but not like ordering the takeout. So what you do is you take a tortilla wrap, you just take half of it, put some marinara sauce down, some shredded cheese down.
I'm literally watching a video. Do it while you're talking. They do it in mozzarella. They do it everything while you're talking.
You lay down whatever toppings you want. You fold it in half. You put it in the oven for about 10 minutes. It cooks, and you cut it into 3 triangles, and you can dip it into whatever sauce you want. Like sometimes they'll put marinara sauce on the side, so you dip it into that. Like you dip it into, I don't know, queso or something with a quesadilla. I don't know. But the point being is it creates that same kind of Mexican style food, but with Italian stuff. So that's like one of the examples of like a quick, easy thing I'll cook. And I enjoy it. Like I enjoy doing that type of stuff and trying to eat as pure as I possibly can. It's tough sometimes, but like you, Cog, I love my takeout. Takeout is like, my mom asked me, she's like, do you want mac and cheese when you come home? Because we got this like mac and cheese delivery service near us. I was like, yeah. So I try to save it for a special treat. Like today's defining Duke Day. I try to make today always a celebration. Like I want to bring the good vibes, the high energy. I love doing this. And I want to be like, okay, after we finish this at like 9 p.m, I'm hungry, I'm ready to eat. And sometimes having that meal ready is good. So like I'll save it for like these types of days, Fridays when the work week's done, like a victory meal.
Yeah, like a victory. Yes, a reward.
That's what I'm big on. But I know I'll always justify and create reasons because I love eating out. If that's like one of my like really posh mentalities, I love eating out.
I love eating out.
Right? So
it's weird. I just love it. I love going to the idea of going to a new restaurant, trying new dishes.
Yeah, always.
I just love that stuff, man. It's a social communal thing for me. Like I'm like, yo, I'm in your city, pull up, let's do that. Like I love that.
Nothing better than getting a meal with a buddy, right? So I have to like try to restrain myself to some extent because I'll just blow all my paycheck on takeout if I really wanted to. A long answer, but yeah, I like cooking. I really do. I'm not an amazing cook. I don't claim to be, but here's the good news. My girlfriend likes my food when I cook for her.
Okay.
She wolfs it down. So, I mean, that's the good sign, right? If she's liking it, she's enjoying it, she's eating it up, she's asking for seconds even.
That's the ultimate compliment.
Yeah. Is there more? I'm like, of course there's another Pizzadilla for you, babe. Here you go. So
let's go.
That's all I care about. I like it. She likes it. I don't know who else I'm going to be serving in the future, but they'll live.
Let's go, Chef Matty, cooking with the pot, bro. Let's go.
It's so funny you say that because my friends, I'll send them my vegan food because again, vegan food doesn't look good. It doesn't look appealing. So I'll send it to them. They're always like, they are ruthless, man. But I got one of my friends good. So we ordered pizza for the UFC fights the other night. And I got a vegan pizza. We got a normal pizza. My friend pops open the tray, takes the vegan pizza, not knowing it, starts eating it up. So it was mad good. Another slice, eats it all down. I'm just watching him eat my pizza. I'm like, I'm not even hungry anymore. This is my entertainment. I don't care about the fights. Pena and Nunes can wait. Like I gotta watch this, right?
Great fight, by the way.
Oh, absolutely amazing fight.
Oh, fantastic. I didn't even know he was UFC like that.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Most of the main events I try to get to, but or the main cards, I should say, not every week, but yeah, man. I was just watching him eat it down. And I was like, "How you like that pizza?" He's like, dude, like we gotta go get this food again. Like this is really good. I'm like, you got something to say about veganism? Because I got some news for you in a sec here. And I let him know. I was like, that's vegan pizza. He's like, at first I thought it tasted something a little different, but he tried to immediately pivot.
Defensive.
Yeah, but he's like, it's actually really good because it's not documented. It's not in text. It's not in picture form. So he's just like clear. But he enjoyed it.
Yes,
he enjoyed it.
That's what's up. Good for him.
So, just a warning to future vegans: your food will get torn apart. The Muffin Man is next. Howdy, Dukes. With the lack of new games recently, I found myself playing older games, specifically Puppeteer on PS3 and Dante's Inferno on Xbox 360. What are some older generation titles that are in your backlog or you're still wanting to check out through backwards compatibility. Have a will I get in trouble for claiming a fake son on my taxes kind of day.
Yo, shout out to the Muffin Bud. That's my dude, man. Shout out to him. I got a great podcast, Project X Talk. Go check him out, y'all. Muffin Bud's good. He's been on our people for
nice.
Good dude. New York in the house, by the way. Upstate New York in the house.
There we go.
Salute. Shout out to the Muffin Man. All right. You know what's funny? We talk about my Game Pass pick of the week, and we talk about Ninja Gaiden and how much I'm loving it. And one of my favorite games was Dead or Alive, and that was also another launch title. Dead or Alive 3, I believe, was close to launch, I believe, for the original OG Xbox. And I used to follow this series all the time, right? But there was one entry I didn't play. I didn't play 4. And I think that's the one that had Master Chief in it. And a Halo, bro, I didn't even know until I don't know what happened in this gap in my history where I missed out because I believe it was a 360 title. And I think it's Dead or Alive 4. I just downloaded. I was watching clips. Bro, Google, Master Chief is in the game. Now get this. Bungie created, it's a female Master Chief. Female voiced Master called Sharon or something. And apparently it's canon.
Yeah.
Is canon.
458. Whoa.
Yes.
Wait, I gotta watch this shit. Hold on.
Bro, and I'm watching it. I'm like, yo, this looks hot. And then they got a Halo stage with the music, with the guitar. And then you can knock.
He attaches a plasma grenade to him and kicks him away.
I said I am downloading this tonight. I forgot to add that to my games play. Yo, Muffin, that's the joint right there. I don't know how I missed out on this. There's this gap in my, and I used to play Dead or Alive hard body. Yo,
yeah,
I said I gotta
same, bro.
Just for Chief, just to see what's going on with a Spartan. It looked cool.
My mind's blown right now. This is
incredible. I didn't even know this existed. I was like, I'm embarrassed. I didn't know.
We're going to eBay right now. Oh, we're going to eBay,
bro. Shout out to that Dead or Alive 4 with the Bungie integration of a female voice Spartan, and it looked real cool. Plasma grenade throws, all type of you could go in Viz. She go in Viz too. I was like, I got into it. So yeah, that's the one that I'm going back on and downloading.
Dead or Alive 6 was awesome, by the way. It's just its DLC was literally microtransactions were disgusting. It was so bad, but Dead or Alive is still an amazing fighting series. I wish it got more attention.
Yeah, I missed it. It had the paper scissors rock. Was it strikes? Counters beat strikes. Was it throws? I
forgot.
Beat counters?
It's been a while.
Yeah, that was it. And then where it went a little left is that before the counter window was a little bit more forgiving, but they made the countering very much harder. And then I think it was a little controversial meta change, and people were like, oh, I don't like it as much, and it kind of fell off. But I'm going to go front. Graphically, it's one of the best looking fighting games for its time. They were the first to really have these beautiful interactive stages where you knock somebody off the stage and then they bounce on to the next level. Like Dead or Alive really popped that off.
Yeah.
And just huge sprites and just a very beautiful visual game. Ryu Hayabusa, great special characters. Shout out to Bayman, Zach.
Yeah.
I remember all of them. INA, all these silly little characters. But yeah, it was good. It was good, man.
Yeah, it says you unlock it after completing all the stories. That's so cool.
Yeah, I got to get it. I got to do it just to have that.
I was always a Hitomi main since Dead or Alive 3.
Yeah. Oh, Hitomi, yeah.
I think when I was a young kid, that character just activated something inside me for sure. I think that's why I began to grow up.
I bet it did. Were you following the Extreme Volleyball series?
No.
Oh, no.
Mother and father would not allow that. No.
Oh, Dad saw what was going on. He was like,
nah. Well, no. I was grinding the Xbox demo that had Dead or Alive 3, the disc that had Dead or Alive 3 on it. I was on that shit constantly. Get my fixin'.
Yeah, those bouncing physics. Hey, it was revolutionary.
Yeah, it was.
For the science of the game. For the tech. I appreciate the tech.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, for my backlog, it's awesome you picked that out because I actually really want to look into that now. But I mean, I'm always working on backlog stuff technically with Retro Rebound because I'm just finding new stuff to always play for that channel. I'd say next on my list right now. Actually, no. Right now, I'm playing Dragon Ball Z Infinite World. I've played most of the Dragon Ball games, not all of them though, and I'm getting really excited for the new movie Dragon Ball Superhero, and I can't wait for it to come out this month. And so I was like, let me get like a DBZ, like an old DBZ game, and this is kind of like Budokai 4, if you will. And I've been playing it on my Steam Deck. It came out before Raging Blast and after Budokai Tenkaichi 3. So this game was like sandwich. It was like a $30 spin-off title with like the best moments of Z. It's called Dragon Ball Z Infinite World. And it is a game that it's very flawed. It's very difficult. Oh my God, the AI beats up on you, but it's more Dragon Ball, and I'm really digging it. So I've been chipping through that. I'm almost done with the Dragon mission mode there. They have like cool mini games and whatnot. But holy hell, it is hard. It is hard.
It looks good.
But yeah, it's good. It's just it came out at a time where it got destroyed by IGN. Like the review is like, we can't recommend this in any realm, I think is what they said, because it just Raging Blast just came out, which was like a huge deal, or maybe Burst Limit was one of those two. Budokai Tenkaichi 3 had a 200 plus character roster, and like it was an amazing fighter. It was so much fun, so much fan service. It had like the whole series, and then this game shows up, and it's like we have 40 characters, and yeah, it's funny. It was a $30 game back then, which made sense, but now it's like an expensive like $70 to $80 game to find online because it was so rare because no one bought it.
So rare.
People call it Budokai 4. But yeah, that's the game I'm playing now. I know it's not back compat, but that is what I am chipping through. And then Jambi is our last write-in here. Hello, Fork and Spoon. I hope you all are doing well. The news that we are getting Mega Man Battle Network Collection soon has got me thinking, why doesn't Mega Man Legends get some love too? I love the aesthetics of the game and the focus on story. However, I may be clouded by nostalgia since a lot of games from this era have not aged particularly well. What do you guys think? Show some love to the spinoff as well as Misadventures of Tron Bonne. Anyway, love the content you both make, Matty. I hope you keep making a speedy recovery and get back to those gains. Hope you both have a my mom won't let me play Tekken with Cog anymore because he's talking smack when I lose type of day. Cog, is there some history here?
There's history there. I don't know how Jambi knows this, but yeah, there's history. Look, listen, I don't ever initiate. That's one thing about me. I never initiate smack talk. But if you start.
I meant to say this. You should have heard us on fucking Multiversus and those 2v2 lobbies. Nothing was off the table when it came to like any old history was getting dug up. Oh! My friend was going through a breakup. My buddy was like throwing it in his face mid combo, like just anything to get the mix up. Anything to get the mix up.
Y'all hardcore with it. Damn, Matty, I doing a breakup.
I did not claim that one. Even I was like, I don't know about that, bro.
Broke up with you, bro.
Yeah, straight up like, go back to the viewer, bro. Come on now. I'm like,
oh, y'all savage. Yo, that's next level. We gotta fight. Bro, that's going for the soul. Yeah. Damn.
My friend has a habit of going too far, but one of my friends. But otherwise, it was more in the park of like reasonable slander, not like going for the gut.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm not gonna act like it was all nice.
I confess. All right, to Jambi's point, where I do talk is not at the opponent. I get into whatever character I'm playing. So if I'm playing a character, there was just one character that people could not stand in Tekken. His name is Craig Marduk. He was the UFC fighter, and it was the first time they introduced the mount, right? So he would get into this like little defensive, like a takedown stance, and then I'd mount you, and there's really nothing you could do. You'd have to guess my combinations when I'm in top
like
position.
King, where in I think Tekken 7 he could do like a slam combo, and if you don't guess it right, you're done.
Now, not to that. King is worse. That's just torture. See your life bar just evaporate, right? Marduk is more like if I go right punch ball to the body and then he'll bust off, he'll do a leg load. It's these short bursts of pain, not like extend, but they were high damage. So while I'm on you, I'm like, I got you now.
Yeah.
And I'm getting into the beastiness of a big character. Like if I get really ridiculous, and then if I know it bothers you, then like Tekken is ridiculous. Like it'll let you make suits. So I'd make like football helmet with the cut off top and like put it all pink. Yeah. Because you don't want me to wrestle you at this point. You don't want me on top of you with this outfit. So I'm gonna bother you like, I got you. And I'm acting like it's prison fresh meat. Come in. Yeah. I would annoy the hell out of my friends with the suits that I would make and then talk that talk. So that's my trash talk.
That reminds me of I was playing Soul Calibur 6. You had a good character creator, and I made a guy who looked like Todd Howard. I was just beating up my friends with Todd Howard. I was like, bro, it just works. It just works every night.
You gotta do it because you gotta play into the character. And if you listen, the key is when you know it bothers them, and then you get them off their game, the mental aspect, because they don't want to lose to no Todd Howard looking character. They want to lose to that. I get it.
Absolutely. What was the question here? Mega Man Legends. Have you played this one at all?
I have not. I
haven't either. It's one that I've missed out in the Mega Man series. I'm a huge fan of Mega Man, but particularly because of Battle Network and X Command Mission. There's a lot of X games I've missed, and Legends is one I have on my Vita that I want to go back to, but I have yet to because I got, as I've talked about at the start of the show, other commitments. So this is one I do want to get to, but the speculation has been, Capcom's gradually remastering collections of Mega Man games in batches, and this is the one that they've called for. They being like the community for a while, because like Legends was very story focused. It was the game that I think a lot of people don't think about, because when Mega Man X7 came out, this was one I had the misfortune of playing. This is known as like one of the worst games of all time, by the way, if you don't know this.
Damn.
It's not good. I love X8. I'm a huge X8 fan, but X7, it's hard. I went back to it last year and I played it. I was like, I can't defend this, man. It's just, I just can't.
I can't defend this.
I want to, because I love the X series. So I just love X as a character, Zero, Axe. I love them, bro. But I just can't defend this game. And a lot of people attributed the game's failure to it being third person. There were side-scrolling moments out of the history of Mega Man, but there were moments you'd go in third person. And a lot of people forget that Legends came out, exists, is a great playing game for the most part, granted for its time. There are some hang-ups with how combat feels because it was on the PlayStation 1, but I played a little bit of it on my Vita and it felt overall pretty good. Now, a lot of people forget that 3D and Mega Man can work. And it's just, I could go on about how I think underutilized Mega Man is nowadays. There was, I remember sending it to our Last Stand server. There was a X game. It was just called X, which was being developed way before Doom. But think of Doom, except it's Mega Man. So it was X like running around and doing like executions to like other bots and stuff, and doing like those finishing moves. And it was very similar to Quake. Like you were kind of gliding and floating around.
Yeah, gliding around.
Looked amazing. So I just feel like there's so much room for growth in this series now. I know they really hit us hard in the early 2000s with like Mega Man everything. But I think now we've hit the cooldown period. So I would love to see them bring back Legends. I think they should. I think they will. Because what happens is now it's like the law of odds. It's like, okay, you've done the regular Mega Mans 1 and 2. You've done X collection. You've done the Zero collection, which no one thought would happen. Now you're doing Battle Network. It's like, okay, so now we need Star Force. Now we need Legends. Is X Command Mission going to come back? Because I would. Oh,
that's your baby. That's it.
It's the game I love that I never beat. I grew up on this game, but I never beat it. It's one of those games that I almost like don't want the mysticism to go. Like, do I ever finish it out? Because I played this game, like the first half of the game over and over and over because my friend owned it. So I never had the ability to finish it. I don't know what that second half is like, but I love it. If I could get my hands on it in a modern way. Like
one that got away for you.
It kind of is. I mean, I have it physically. I could play it, but I just like, I cherish that game. And it's a weird relationship because it's like, I never beat you. Like, I don't know how this ends, but I don't want it to end. So it's like, the question marks are starting to pop up of like, what's next? So I think it's a matter of time. It's just, I feel if you're going to do Battle Network, then they got to be doing Star Force next. That would make sense because that's like the spiritual successors. After that, maybe Legends. I don't know, because like we're now in this remaster season. Remakes are really popular, especially at Capcom. Capcom's making a lot of money off of them. Maybe they're going to look at something like Mega Man Legends 1 and remake it. It's possible. And the reason I say that is they technically remade the first X game with X Maverick Hunter on the PSP. That was I love that game so much, but that was a remake of the first X game, and it was really good, adding voice lines. Obviously, updating the graphics, it played roughly the same. Mega Man Powered Up is a game that Colin put me on, which is literally like a remake of the first ever Mega Man game. And they had like a community mode that let you build your own levels. That game looks amazing, by the way. And I'm not even a fan really of the classic Mega Man games. So yeah, I think there's a lot of pathways and rather branching paths as Dusk Falls that Capcom could take. I just think we're getting more Mega Man inevitably. It's just, I don't know which batch we're going to get. My guess would be Star Force.
They're sitting on a gold mine and stuff, and to me, it makes sense, right? And the question is going to be: you just going to get it, or you think they're going to remake it, kind of thing?
Yeah, I understand the pace they're at too. You know, when I think about like how well Resident Evil's doing now, you don't want to let that go. And I love seeing survival horror thrive because there was a time period towards the end of the 360 gen we thought it was kind of done with, and Resident Evil is responsible for that resurgence. So I want them to keep their foot on the gas there, even if it's at the the sacrifice of a Mega Man. That's okay. I'm happy to see Street Fighter 6 coming around because I'm not a big Street Fighter fan, and that looks really, really good. So we want more of those fighting games, those big budget fighting games. It looked very different, right? They had like the 3D exploration mode. I'm really feeling what they're doing here. So I'm letting Capcom just do what they want, but I would love to see them put some more resources into a real new, like a Mega Man X9 or something along those lines. Because I think the series deserves just more than remasters, although I love the focus on like, let's preserve the old stuff. I can't argue with that mindset. So we'll see where they go, but I'm excited that it's just around still.
No doubt.
With that, Cog, we're at the end of the episode 83 of Defining Duke and Xbox podcast, and we already have our hashtag ready to go. Do we want to do the full brand association DD, or do we want to do like brands DD?
That's true, because brand association, even though it's perfect, it is long, right? But I'm cool either way. I mean, that's the essence of this whole thing.
Yeah, I think we go for it. We trust our audience to do the extra mile here. Brand association DD. All right. Excellent. So if you got this far, tag us on Twitter. I'm at G27status. That's at Lord Cognito. With the hashtag brand association DD, let us know your thoughts on the show. If you don't use social media, put the hashtag in the comments down below. Let us know your thoughts on the episode. I see some of y'all out there. You'll put the hashtag and that's it. And it's like, like, cool, you finished it, but like, what did you think? I want to know what you thought. So do that for us. We appreciate you nonetheless. But if you're going to use the hashtag, let's see what you thought. Whether it's positive or negative, it's cool. We just want to know the thoughts. With that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Cog, any thoughts you have before we close things out?
Another phenomenal episode with the Dukes. A lot of fun, a lot of good stories, a lot of good takes. It's going to be what I can't wait to see a lot of the feedback and the responses on certain things.
Absolutely. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, take excellent care of yourselves, and we'll see you next week with episode 84 of Defining Duke and Xbox podcast. Peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Colin's Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.